Well, let's see what he can do with it. I mean, I don't mind a force if it works, right?
Here.
So.
Yeah, you got the plant. You got the outlaw. I mean, that's another weapon you have to consider for force buys now. Doesn't want to show that he has it. And
well, a bit of noise. It just makes Laz think for a second. Did they go under the 2? But, well, guess not. It's going to be Polvi with the shot onto Laz instead. Clean head tap. And that weakens mid. With that now, a rotation pulled over from Hiroran, and it's going to be Global Esports slowly creeping up towards A.
yeah, the thing is now you don't have the Killjoy either, so a lot of that retake capability of clearing out corners with something like the Nano Swarm no longer an availability.
Well, similar from before, they let them have the site. Trying to spray, but still, spike plant goes down.
Planted.
Money Fast is watching the flank. It's a force buy, and Zeta knows that, so the weaponry not necessarily in their favor.
Although, Polvi is still favoring this outlaw. Third shot, fourth! Goes in for the reload. A blinded Dep tries to hop over to stay alive, but then Russ just guns him down with the stinger.
4 shots, 4 kills for Polvi with the new weapon. The outlaw doesn't need to fire twice to get a shot if it's always a headshot. Great showing from the duelist pickup for Global Esports.
Dude, that's crazy. Oh my god. Had the angle from the window?
Oh, that was okay. He was already damaged up. And that's, again, one of the strengths of the Outlaw as well. Good pop flash from Russ, too.
Can re-peek just as quick. That is lovely. As we move forward into the next round now, of course, economy for Zeta not going to look too great. Polvi just looking to sound off even more shots. A bit of information being retrieved by Blaze King, and it pushes Zeta back.
Honestly, I think this is the best gun to give off warning shots in Valorant.
Yeah.
It's very loud. The base is very deep.
And it just instills fear.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how much space they got off of that warning shot.
It's almost scarier than an operator when you just listen to it.
Welcome to the Wild West, buddy. Annyeonghaseyo. Astar's going to appreciate that one. Anyway, toxic screen down, and it's going to be Global Esports just trying to play it safe because they know that any of these pistols could be lurking right around the corner. Benkai getting caught out by Dep. Not what you want to have happen as Dep picks up that Spectre.
Yeah, with that snake bite down, they know that Russ not quite waiting in the default position. Laz a great shot, and so is Duran. I mean, they're all peeking out at the same time. 1 shot, 1 kill.
I need to see their POV on that one. Now it's going to be lightning fast with nothing but a stinger, 4 barrels staring down right at him.
30 seconds left.
Goes in for a big of a quick peek, takes down the first player, tucks back around, 20 seconds remaining, and he has to kind of either go in for, well, at this point, you just kind of got going for all the kills.
And this is one of those situations where, I mean, sure, you had 1 outlaw, but you've got these stingers in hand. And when it comes to the B site, I mean, you're not the one with the harbor. Those sheriffs are going to be just as strong, if not stronger. The problem being, Benkai, I believe, was also picked off in the middle of the round, so not much of a chance to rotate to A, and things fall apart. They already had to commit to the plant. They fake it off the snake bite, try to draw them out into closer range, and they're just prepared. Wow. I mean, this just about shuts down everything. This is why they commit to the B site. The peaks right as the screens go down. Very well done from Zeta Division.
Does give you an idea of what both teams are capable of. Benkai sometimes looking for these lurks, but at the same time, my goodness, those peaks from Zeta Division. So Eco off of Ecos, we got the thrifty win right back in. And now Zeta's got the rifles, and is that an outlaw and Hiroran? It's going to be a full buy from Global Esports, though, but some half armor.
Yeah, so Zeta's trying to make this back into their bonus, right? Picking up the weapons that their opponents dropped in that last round. We'll see. I mean, because they have the capabilities.
Oh, just a bit of a swing, though.
Tagged up.
Even more tags, and now lightning fast, proving that he is that dreamer from South Asia. Peeks out, picks up the triple, and all of a sudden Zeta Division are left wanting more.
And this type of turning up the tempo, this is going to benefit GE a lot, right? Because given their compositions, given their tendencies, a lot of people are going to start to assume, okay, you're going to wait to creep up, go for a set play. It's things like these deep lurks, and these other ideas, the different tempos that really start to play a macro game of Valorant against your opponents.
Yeah, because it's just like, you had a bit of pressure towards B from earlier on, and then you're also always thinking Benkai might lurk around corners sometimes, and we can't just always leave Depp to deal with him. Meanwhile, on the other hand, off of the next round, Global Esports just goes in for that mid play, and that's something that Zeta, hasn't really defended all too well. Remember the previous round where Polvi picked up that quad kill. So, Zeta has a bit of thinking to do.
And I like that Lightning Fast just commits early towards screens as well, right? Because you can't really lurk as efficiently into Kitchen anymore with that window available. His team already creeping up into the site. They make the call, of course, as they're jumping in with the drone that, okay, site is empty. So Lightning Fast knows
that was
that
John
means...
Wick behavior, okay? That was John Wick behavior.
John Wick. Oh, right. I mean, it was a Vandal. It wasn't quite a pistol that we're looking at, but it was a great lurk there. Gets the 444 himself.
Very nicely done. Now we've got Polvi on the Blade Storm. And they're looking to open things up towards A. Zeta definitely wanting to back off of this. But what's curiouser is Lightning Fast with this lurk up around Hut.
Oh, he's buying so much time in Benkai.
Oh, no.
Benkai with the backup comes out from the other side of the map.
Things just start to fall apart for Zeta Division. Not getting the right reads, peeking into lurks. And at the same time, not quite able to make this retake happen just yet. I think they're opting for that save, but while you're going for that, Lightning Fast is trying to hunt you down. Wow, okay, that's John Wick behavior.
I mean, he's going deep. He's going on a solo mission, just pick up frags. He needs 2 more. If he gets 1 and dies, he still gets a Viper's Pit as well. It's not a bad shout. It's 1. I mean,
now,
eco damage already done.
Just falls back, allows for Polvi, who is on the Blade Storm, to go for a little bit more. Just now playing off of the teammate to check. They want to take those guns away. All right, now we've lost a plot. It's time to save.
Yeah, we got mighty close to that lockdown here from Laz as well. But hey, damage done to the economy a little bit. Viper's Pit also picked up by Lightning Fast. I think you see it on his face, like, okay, maybe that was a little bit too much, right? Once we didn't get the counter peak, but the teammates are there as well, and that's something they're going to notice with Global Esports, is that obviously his team, the comms are good. They're all players who are used to calling and sharing ideas, leading the team in one way or another. Lightning Fast enjoying the time on the stage. He talked about how he wanted to be part of the main roster. He wanted his chance on the stage consistently. The team has now put the trust in him to be that representative here for Global Esports, for South Asia. You're going to be part of the main roster. You're on stage every single time. How long can you help extend the tournament life in a setting like Kickoff?
I think he's going to extend it pretty well. I mean, off of this map, off of that performance from round 2 and so on and so forth, he is definitely showing us that he is back. Well, at the same time, though, for Zeta, I mean, this was their map pick. The start is not great. It just feels as though, although this is a different map, the ideas from the previous one definitely stay intact, and Global Esports are really trying to figure out how to play off of that pacing.
Yeah, I mean, this is Global Esports just getting a good read on the first couple rounds and Zeta's tendencies, right? They leave A side open, then they go for the retake. It's a pretty heavy flank coming out from B side. GE starting to get very well aware of that. Of course, the force buy helped kind of even out the rounds early on as well. So I like this timeout because now Zeta should have some other ideas in the works, and it's going to be a push out down 2.
Wow, okay. That's something different. Bit of that Vandal play, but they gotta stay hidden well enough to make it happen. Global Esports maybe anticipating such a push as well, so just creeping up onto A site. The 0 point clears out the entire thing. Nobody's here. We get a free plant.
Yeah, now you know, okay, site's empty again. Surely it's another retake coming in from both sides of the site. Polvi, that did hurt a bit more than you wanted.
Still good for the time being. He manages to hold his position, and crucially, this angle on towards Rafters, because that's where Laz wants to be.
And Zeta, this time, they're not flanking early, right? They're just putting that pressure in that this is what we always do. They're looking to go in with the main force.
Oh, trying to switch things around, but still, Polvi holds his ground, manages to gun down 2. A bit of a flank coming through, but not quite for long. Lightning Fast trades out depth, and then comes Huron from the front. Null Command sussed out position. But
Cove
then you
ready.
still got to deal with Benkai and Lightning Fast. I don't know how much the Cove can do because they haven't quite tapped the spike yet. Those lineups, they are making it work. You're unable to pick up one more, but then that's about it. Sugar Zero running away, holding onto the rifle. It's Global Esports 4-2.
Yeah, and the KO utility coming in handy as well. Obviously, Zeta Division not able to activate their abilities for a long time. They had to fight through that retake. Couldn't set up for something like a Cove, stick the half, and pressure a little bit further against the attacking team. I mean, Polvi getting those first 2 kills as well. You love the energy from this team. I mean, surely they will continue to release some comms throughout the year, and it is great to listen. They've got such good energy across the board.
2 names really stand out right now, Lightning Fast and Polvi. The snake bite, the opening frags. What more could you want? Zeta is the one that has to catch up to it, and right now they're trying to put out the roadblock up around pipes. Laz able to get the first one, but not for long until Heroron arrives. Guns down with a bit of a lineup on towards Russ, and then picks up the third onto Lightning Fast. Blaze King cannot do all too much now as he's up on top of Nest.
I mean, this crazy aggression from Zeta. Laz pushing out all the way up front, and then Depp just trying to bounce around and draw all eyes on him. He dashes out, and they just do not suspect yet another member like Huron hiding right around the corner. Able to hold his aim for a triple. That should stabilize things. That's a 4th kill as well for Huron. Climbing right back into the game. Hunter's Fury available for him to counter out and maybe push them back out in the next round too.
Now we can play retake. Still though.
I mean, this is just, they got a sight of him, but at that point it was a little too late. He was so ready for it too. I mean, the first double kill, very good discipline. And these are the moments we saw from him in just a couple rounds during the offseason as well. Very sharp shooting when he's in the zone.
That's what we need to see from Zeta as well. I mean, you got to fight fire with fire sometimes, and maybe the answer was just to really get a good read for where Global would push out and then to peek off against that. But here it comes now. Off of those wins from before, Global picks up the operator. Polvi is in a damn good position. Here's the Aldrin, wants to shoot it down, but nothing doing for the time being.
Yeah, Zeta heard the op too, though, right? That's why they're not giving him the time of day. They just say, keep him trapped in mid. We've still got utility from Killjoy to get information to hold a little bit of time. B, you've still got the double controllers, the patience coming in handy, but problem being, they haven't ever retaken under tube or into tube. So this is something that Zeta will have to keep in mind of the entire time.
Just trying to stay hidden. They don't want to give out too much. And meanwhile, for Global Esports, they've managed to get openings before because they always put a bit of pressure, and with mental conditioning, they pull some of these defenses away. But this time, without the opening pick that Polvi was definitely looking for, they're going to take a little bit of time. There's 30 seconds left, Will.
Yeah, they have to go in. There's the alarm bot. Now you know what's coming through. And a swarm does enough damage.
And a snake bite on the other side.
You have enough time to rotate if you go now, but they're not going to.
Gotta commit. And it is time, but Les just stops you in the nick of time as well. Here comes Depp with an operator of his own. And guess what? The Reckoning committed too. 13 seconds, and this has to be a save.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, just got to make sure that you're keeping...
I'll take the orb, why not?
Yeah, you got to keep up that operator. Build towards that Blade Storm as well, because you're not looking too healthy. But a save. I mean, you got trapped in mid. And then at that point, this really comes down, I think, to Zeta also just saying, okay, we have no information. So instead of trying to creep back out, we have all these ultimates for the retake, right? You had the Reckoning, you had the Hunter's Fury. Let's actually group up and make sure we're not getting flanked at any point through mid. Multiple members watching different angles in mid. You've got Killjoy and Harvey Utility blocking off the main entrances. And then they say, as soon as the alarm bot rings, send the Reckoning. They don't have enough time because if they're rotating, we still have members still anchoring down on B. And Global, good timeout. It's trying to say, okay, this mid pressure, unless we get the first pick, it's not working. How else do we adapt from that?
Hence the timeout. So it's going to have to be a bit of a question for Coach Spin and Big Time. But apart from that, at the same, it's also Zeta Division. I mean, it's just, I like their composition. It's one piece of utility, but the Reckoning does so much. And now with Laz's kills coming through, you're cycling through some ultimates. He's got another lockdown for a good retake or two. It's, it might be Zeta coming on the up and up.
Yeah, there's a reason this was the comp that started to really rise up once a couple of teams showed it off, you know, like the DRX, because it's basically the harbor for the stage, right? But now you have a little bit more flexibility. It's not just force the plant, then hold for post-plant lineups. You've got a little more of a different way to inch forward, take the map over piece by piece. And GE, they're the ones who are experimenting today. we'll see if they have finally figured out the answer, cracked the code enough to force a shift in the meta.
It would work better if maybe some of these initiators can open things up for Polvi, because we are looking for Polvi to get that opening pick. Still has the operator, and now rears his sights towards B.
Revealing
Okay. Recon doesn't find much, but it does bait out a bit of a cascade.
Good cascade, actually.
Very
so hard
deep.
to clear around that.
Don't want to push past it, so that's why they're holding so far back. And in the meantime, Zeta pushes out mid on their own. Doesn't find much though, but it is a good angle for Depp.
Yeah, I mean, Depp could stay, or yeah, they could back out, because that means GE, if they want any variation, they're going to have to take time to take over mid. And Zeta, they're actually just banking on the fact that this is going one way or another. The Recon's not going to find anything. Surely this gives the call. Oh. And Benkai as well. Surely this gives the call over to focus onto yellow.
Yeah, they're like, that's the lurker. We can rotate now. That's what they're doing. Snakebites out from Euron. A bit of a jiggle, and that assesses out Polvi's position. They know exactly what's about to happen. The Cove trying to play off at the shorty with the swing, but not quite the shots to make it work. Blaze King, Polvi, they are gunning down Zeta. Laz, however, manages to pick up one from mid, but that's all he can really do. The angle being held now by Polvi. Hunter's Fury being committed, but ooh, the ultimate's not really well timed enough, and still aiming down his sights. One shot through the engine block. Global Esports 5-4.
I mean, a great round coming out from GE. You bait out the first piece, couple pieces of utility, then you cut all contact. You had the turret watching for mid as well. So it gets contact. You don't see it get broken right away. There's no further push, so you have to presume, of course, and then you hear the upshot as well that it's going to be the operator coming through. Still on the lurk on A. You're making sure that Zeta gets split up. It's a good read. Try to readjust to what Zeta's doing. So now, Zeta, a new look. It's going to be the stack onto A.
Yeah, the split is good. I also do feel like it's a little bit of like Euron and Huron maybe.
No.
I mean, it's tough for them to hold, and now Polvi feeling that much more confident. Depp trying to, cause a bit of mayhem, but it's not quite going to happen.
I don't know if they can suspect Benkai here. They have some inkling. They heard Polvi drop, but that's why they're a little scared, because surely, okay, nice peek around out of the nest.
Very quick, but now has to back up. Meanwhile, the rest of Global's forces are actually trying to suss out the positioning towards B. Toxic Screen gives them that much more space to work with.
And a good hold on that utility from Sugar Zero as well. That cascade wasn't going to get any value, so you just want to make sure that you're able to have that for the retakes. Now that you know the site wasn't taken over, the high tide, just trying to slow things down.
Also with Huron and the angle around mid too, so does give them a little bit more room to push up and kind of position themselves around the site. Now that it's surrounded, now that it's a little bit more clear, Euron goes in for the quick peek, takes down lightning fast.
And they're still aware of Benkai as well. They haven't spotted this Killjoy.
Oh, Laz is watching too.
Yeah, they're waiting for it, but now they know they have the numbers advantage, trying to force the defuse.
Now he's spotted. Here comes Ben. Oh no. And Laz just turns around at the right time. Defuse comes in. Let's get it over to Huron. We've got a 5-5.
2 more rounds to go. On a tightrope, both these teams bouncing back and forth across the 2 maps. And quite frankly, neither of them looking dominant on their own map pick either. Of course, GE lost their pick of Bind. Had another double initiator comp on that first map. They brought it out here as well, just trying to change things up. But, I mean, are you cooking or are you just dawdling around in the kitchen? Because so far we're not finding the answer. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to shift metas, and a lot of times the frags have to follow up. Now, this time, I would say they're starting to fire up. Polvi leading the scoreboard in the server. But it's not enough just yet.
Always that challenge of like old and new ideas. Old spice or new spice? Still, Will is absolutely right. Polvi has been showing up, but we still need more to see that dominant lead. Because it isn't that dominant lead, both teams are actually adjusting to each other really well, and we're seeing how they play back and forth in terms of space. We still have Euron as well as Sugar Zero defending that B site. These walls are doing so much.
You have so much time right now. You still know that no one's pushed out from mid or A, not too far at the very least. Oh, if he gets this kill. Oh, still loses control of Snowman, though. If they held control of Snowman, either you plant the lurk there, or you try to force your way all the way around the pit. But now, Depp, very well focused.
Yeah, Depp always holding his own out towards the A side, especially with that operator. But the other thing is also just Euron and that Viper's pit. It covers up just enough that he can actually peek out and take down whoever peeked out Snowman.
30
I think
seconds
that's
left.
kind of the idea. And now with that space, Depp repositions, tries to land the shot. Not quite connecting, though. This might allow for Global Esports to get that spike down.
And both teams are so aware of the potential lurks as well. I mean, they've kind of bitten each other in the back a couple times in this first half. Wow. But now it's just the main force pushing through.
You get a little bit paranoid, but now all you got to do is watch the front. Lightning fast definitely does. Goes in for that jitter peek, but it doesn't quite work out. Last that much more decisive, just goes in for the shot. Now they're aware that Blaze King is up on top of Belt. Good peek though, but not quite enough to gun down the second target. So Zeta goes up ahead.
Yeah, and it was Laz holding that defuse from the box as well. So Blaze King just trying to think that it's through the screen. He can't see them already posted up into the top of the site. But unfortunately, it's just the beanie from Killjoy showing
just
up.
the beanie.
You got to watch out for that beanie. You got to make sure it's pressed all the way down on your head.
Yeah, flushed all the way.
Yeah, you don't get fashion points in Valorant.
It's not just fashion. It peeks out over the top of some obstacles or some ponytails. Nah, not really. 6-5. That's the main thing. And again, it's just how they play back and forth in terms of space. Global tries to pull some of the attention away onto the other parts of the map, trying to divide Zeta. But Zeta stays united and back into the A site. A sudden change in pace, a quick execute off of the null command. Russ picks up his value. Polvi now with that space goes in and finds another frag. This is Polvi not just creating space, he is actually fragging out. Oh no, but lined up! They hesitated for a second.
The comms just break down, the cloudburst comes out, but now, of course, you get the detain.
Okay, it allows for Benkai to go a little bit greedy. Picks up one, knows to pull back. Spike planted. How do you retake, Zeta?
Cove and double cascade at the ready. Now you got double structure and nano swarm as well, but GE not backing out.
Oh, they're not using util. Setting up a bit of a crossfire between 410 and the boxes. They know where Laz is. Here comes that Cove. And he's so good on these timed peaks. Benkai off of it as well, just to watch his friends back. We tie things up 6-6 at the end of the half.
Yeah, the Nanoswarm already being there, a nice piece of utility that gets them that passive info if they do shoot it. He shoots it, and Blaze King actually moves around the box. He knows one's on the spike, but instead of saying, I'm going to peek, try to get him right as he goes for the tap, he just says, okay, surely it's a fake, because if not, I've got my teammate Benkai able to swing out on a timing on the 4 seconds, hides away, sees the Cove come back up, and then he walks right back in. Blaze King, this is why he gets a lot of those clutches that he's always had in SEA.
Exactly on Boom Esports. Now on Global Esports, showing us what he's capable of. A lot of Indonesian talents in VCT Pacific, and Blaze King is just one of them. I mean, he's definitely earned his spot, and it always shows true in a lot of these tiny micro decision-making moments. Knowing to push whenever the spike is tapped. And sometimes, it's also a bit of confidence. It makes you think, yeah, a bit of hesitation from Polvi or with a cloudburst and wanting to pick up his fallen teammate Russ. But Blaze King and Benkai brought things back.
Yeah. Now, with the double initiator composition for Global Esports, how do they want to play that defense? Another map like mine where there's a lot of post-plant utility lineups, a lot of those types of plays. So at some point, you're going to want to at least pressure the flanks so they can't just sit all the way back. But the problem is if you're pushing out with your initiators, unless you're getting some sort of contact or really just closing the map into half, that utility it doesn't feel like it's bringing home as much value. So,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious what they're going to do. Obviously, in the pistol, it's going to be a stack.
The other thing is also just that they might not push out all too much because it's the 0 point and the recon vault. They can just sit back and, let the utility gather a bit more information from him and then try to, you know, make guesses off of that. Obviously not the safest. But
sure, but that's my point, right, is that you can sit back, but then your retake, if you go for all the flashes and they just hang back, then you just got to deal with the post plant. So it's this rock, paper, scissors, but Blaze King still on fire from the first half.
Definitely throwing a rock on that first one. Here comes Hiroran up towards screens, and Zeta has found their opening. Has to gun down Blaze King, turns back around because of depth, and that is that double kill that gives them the sight. Lightning fast, tries to wrap back around, checks in, but doesn't expect Laz up by the window. Man, that new spot up by Icebox is just showing us so much today.
Yeah, we're seeing a couple good looks around it. I think teams around the world trying to show us there's multiple ways to work that. Obviously, the pure threat that you can watch it from Boiler makes it a little harder to dig deep on the attacker side, but then you can still hold from under the window on different angles. There's a lot of ways you can use that to just plant, you know, the seed of doubt into the opponent, into the future rounds.
Okay?
Especially for attacking teams too, I think. It's just another additional angle. Makes you think about the defensive side, like whether or not you want to invest a player to watch that spot. On the other hand, though, right now, with the buys, no force from Global. In fact, they're just kind of playing these unorthodox, really close-range positions. They heard something and they peeked out, and it lines up for depth. The stack gets knocked down. Sugar Zero, Hiroran picking up more kills. It's all down again to Benkai.
It's an eco. You do what you have to do. Those are the plays that either it turns into greatness or you get lined up.
But I don't know, like maybe you just don't peek or like hide or.
Well, you have to go for a timing, right? Because
Yeah.
I think if you're waiting, unless you have like all Buckies and such, they're gonna check. There's no way, right?
Of course.
And I mean, sometimes some teams don't, and they pay for it. But I don't mind the peek. Here's the thing: you're not supposed to win that round, so you have to throw. If you're going to commit to something like a stack like that, you got to throw a curveball. You got to go for the wild card. And yeah, it looks silly, but sometimes it looks genius. And there's a fine line. There's a fine line, but it's not a round you were supposed to win. So I think those are the times where I don't mind it. You know, you let it pass. Now you got your rifles in hand. These are where GE can start to showcase what do their defaults look like. It's going to be the two initiators on one side, the Killjoy and Viper on the other side of the map to anchor.
When you're right, Will. And here comes Polvi. Oh, instant pick off and backs off with the tailwind.
I mean, you already have the numbers advantage. Got control of mid as well.
Might as well let them trickle in, right? Blaze King hearing the footsteps, gets timing on the peak. Sugar Zero continuing to push up front, manages to catch Russ, but how long can that really work out until Euron? What is the... I can't see that. We managed to find shots with a Guardian of all things. Here come the rest of the players from Raptors though, and they are still peeking a little bit too fast, a little bit too much. It allows for Euron to pick up yet another double. 2 + 2, that equals 4.
A great 4K, and you see him slowly getting that energy up.
Quick maths.
Yeah, on the stage. I'll leave that up to you. Not going to do any of my own maths here. But a great round from Uran. Oh, Depp smiling as well. We often see him just kind of being zoned in no matter what. But the vibes on Zeta are good.
Oh.
I mean, it's just a wraparound from both teams, right? And that's good movement from Uran because you note that GE is trying to play around your double controllers. They're trying to find the timings into your smokes. So then Uran says, well, I got to counteract that by continuing to take over space. Once you back up, if you've already gone for your execute and then you stop the momentum, you lose control over the entire site. You have to come in at that point, and it's good that he goes for it. You know, maybe the taunt was an overheat. We'll find out after this timeout.
Hopefully. But it's also like kind of nice to see, I mean not last, but Zeta Division taunting a little.
No, it's great. It's great. I mean, I don't think it also wasn't anything too crazy. I like that he's riding the momentum. Both sides, the coaching staff racking their brains. And a map like Icebox, I think it's very difficult for coaches to really pinpoint, you know, how to adapt.
Because it's always that push and pull. Again, you pull on one side, another side gets a little bit more open, and sometimes that's an opening for Global. But at least for this round, we can say with absolute certainty it should be Zeta's pickup. So the timeout being called, invested into future rounds.
Yeah, and GE, they have enough creds on Polvi to go for that operator in the next round as well. So that's something they're going for, right? Even if it's the half armor, once you get that operator, things get a little easier.
It makes you think, right? Is this Marshall position up on top of yellow something that they want to condition Zeta into thinking? But the shot was already picked off, and the cascade just gives Zeta that much more security.
He's trying to just get one
Whoa.
hit. All right, just a quick reaction to that recon.
Yeah, they're trying to push off of it, distract him. Enough investment, they've pulled the rotations over. Laz might have heard or sensed it.
Well, this is, yeah, and this is just good timing from Laz, right? Is that you can at least secure that you'll be ready for the execute.
Oh, Ben.
And if they already did shift over, it's not like they're going to have time to flood the site without checking everything.
And they really got nothing.
But you can't move from GE's position. I mean, I don't blame GE. This is just Laz making a great call from Zeta, right? You saw the Marshall, you saw them back up, you saw him shoot out the recon, which tells you that they want to hide information, they want to try to stay on the B site.
30 seconds left.
And now it's just the site free.
That's exactly what I mean. Everything orchestrated perfectly to the mastermind of Carlisle or Junior or Laz. The call from it, Huron with the timing on the poison cloud towards mid as well, so that Benkai doesn't see anything on the crossing. And they managed to cut noise just enough to clear out the entire site. Now, a full pistol plus one Marshall retake, it is near impossible, virtually impossible for Global Esports to win. Whoa, even with the Reckoning too? We really want double digits, don't we?
Yeah, you have the lead. I don't mind this at all. Sure, it can seem a little crazy, but this is also a different Zeta division. Continue the lead when you can. We've seen so many teams in Pacific last year that try to save it for the match point, save it for the grand win, and it just never happens. So why not just extend that lead just a bit further?
So decisive. This, again, I gotta say it, brand new Zeta division. Global Esports dying to get that round loss bonus. But it does, again, extend that gap. 4-round differential. How do we claw our way back into this? Those timeouts have been spent.
Well, operator is going to be surely the biggest factor. And it does look like it's going to be a B hold. Whether it's on top or below, that's up to him. And I don't think Zeta's going to be too concerned one way or the other. You're going to have to check that entire lane if you want to put any pressure. The thing Zeta did in the past round, though, is that while it's smart and it's a good round to do it, they plant that threat of the flank, right, the rotate late. So now GE always has to have someone anchoring if they want to go for a stack mid-round.
Well, a bit of a guessing game this time. Zeta not able to retrieve all too much.
This is I mean, it's a great angle to hold on that far angle, but if they're coming out of garage, yeah, that flick is not an easy one. So Polvi's really playing for maximum contact and maximum info.
I don't know if Zeta's going to push all too deep into B yet, though. They're kind of guessing as to the previous rotations, the previous positions that Global Esports held. So without finding all too much this time, they're kind of assuming and setting up for that execute into A. I don't know if it's the wisest decision.
Yeah, the high tide doesn't cover all of rafters. They have to be aware of that.
Okay, well, the frag's still just as good. Huron just walks up and takes down Russ. Lightning fast answers back, though. But look at the positioning from Depp. He's already making it up on top of screens. And with that, Sugar Zero conceals the plant, gets it through. A bit of a wallbang coming out. Doesn't quite connect, but Huron's still just as good on the Guardian. Similar to Huron from before.
Surely you save. I mean, it feels bad, but yeah, but it feels bad, but you need this op to make anything happen in the future rounds.
Oh, he's going for it. Doesn't know the angle from below. Lig spotted. Okay, now we save.
I mean, I think if you're Zeta, you chase. You got so many creds. Trap him in.
Polvi tried to pull a sneaky.
I mean, this is a Zeta who is on the hunt. They are out for blood. They find the shot. Huron's already here. Oh, he heard him.
No?
Well, he was ready for it, but he just wants to run away. He just wants to buy time.
Nah, okay, he's managed to run away.
The greatest escape.
Whew.
Well, will it lead to anything? It's the one ray of hope
6-11
that GE has now.
I mean, do you push out with it, or?
It's an option, but I think it's an obvious one. And I think there's got to be some sort of stack, some sort of push out, because, I mean, if it's just there. Okay, they will just buy up with half armors as well. So the operator's still there. So that just means you're still able to hold this one angle. You are going to push out onto pipes, under actually, an over-under setup here with Russ. And at a certain point, surely you shift the weight. Very greedy from GE with lightning fast pushed up this far.
Oh.
No one's going to watch his back.
Just hold the angle, maybe.
But he has no escape. He's going to get one. He gets the spike at the very least.
Down, attacker
Good
spawn.
heads up duel, good information. The rotation's coming through, but Zeta being able to anticipate these movements is just so good. And now with that spike goes down, BlazeKing tries to hold it off with the shock darts, but out in the open gets caught out by Deb, who I will not mention with the Blaze Storm. Moving forward now, still the retake's underway. You've got mid, you've got not Snowman any longer, just mid. Benkai tries to open things up. The Viper's Pit committed to secure match point. Do you still go through or do you save? I mean, so much to consider.
It's this or match point. No matter what, you're not going to have a great round the next one, but you're not finding the early picks. It's just not doable anymore.
Colby's going to do the same thing, trying to hold on to this operator. Zeta can definitely chase.
He should be all right. Should have it going off here soon. So the operator stays alive, and Benkai sacrifices himself for a shot at that lockdown, and he'll fill it up. But now, you bought up those rifles. Obviously, you had to, because otherwise it's a guaranteed match point. But it's not looking like a great round. You have the lockdown. I mean, as obvious as it can be, yeah, maybe a push out with the operator, go for a lockdown retake.
I think that's the thing. I mean, with the operator, if you're playing defensively and you don't find contact, it just kind of becomes diminishing returns. Right?
Oh, they had just enough.
Rounds now.
Yeah, they had just enough to sacrifice a couple utility as well. Just go for the half armors. You got the Hunter's Fury too.
So trying to sack the play, trying to push through, get info, and then fall back, set up for the retake. It's a bit risky, a little bit gambly. Rush tries to stay a second longer to find that tag, but not quite able to make it happen. Zeta very controlled. Getting pinged and then just holding back for a second. Laz now watching mid for any crosses. This is Zeta on a whole new look, whole new level.
Laz is on the move. Lightning Fast heard him. Gets him on the flank as well.
Good pickup, and then depth to come back in. The spike is down. They know they're good. Everyone's in position, not to mention Euron, who is holding such an angle. But good swing off of the recon. BlazeKing and Russ managed to shoot them down. Russ trying to dance back and forth. The spike still being defused and held. Benkai able to hold it all the way through. Manages to make use of that space from Russ and BlazeKing.
Okay, so you get the round, but at what cost? Dropping all the weapons all the way to the end.
Did you buy up on the...
Oh. I mean, you have to buy whatever you can every single round now, but...
I mean, you can't afford a full buy. Is what
No, you can't. I mean, because you barely bought up half armor with full rifles. Now, sure, they'll get Bulldogs and Guardians, but it's one shock dart, no fragment on Russ. Some very crucial things that they would want on a retake.
Well, you do have the Null Command and the Viper's Pit, but how long can you really extend this map? That is the question. 12-7 right now. All Zeta needs is one. And they are looking mighty decisive. Depp 1 point away from the Blaze Storm. Goes in to take that space up around yellow. Timing peak off of the recon. Clears out the early half of the site.
So Pulvy's aware that a lurk is still on the A site. It's either him or Lightning Fast that can hold that. Pulvy's going to leave it up to his teammate, regroup on B.
Shock darts to clear out utility or just to fend them off.
Oh, Pulvy he was ready for it.
Laz wanted to make it happen, though. If he did, then there may have been some rotations. But here comes Pulvy and Lightning Fast now.
I don't know if Depp suspects that this is going to be a double. Oh, Lightning just a jiggle. I don't mind it. Doesn't greed for the kill.
Oh.
But that means they're trapped in B.
Exactly.
Defense knows.
They have to push up front. And as long as Russ, Benkai, and BlazeKing can defend B well enough, they're going to run out of time. The pressure is on. And off of the cascade, they push up. Euron and Hiruron. How do they make it happen? All three players down. Depp now coming through. All that's left is Lightning Fast and a Russ that is running out of battery, running out of juice. Finds the angle, finds the shot, but oh god, Bladestorm now propped up. That's a tough target to hit. Okay. Just a bit of a whiff here and there, and then you're on to secure that final nail in the coffin. 13-7. Zeta Division clears this out 2-0.
One of the teams that just did not budge to make a roster move for so long, but they start the first chapter of a story about building up talent in your own region throughout your own academy roster. I mean, today was a story of Uran and Huron. They topped the board on this map as well, but both of them performing quite well throughout this entire series. We all knew, okay, firepower upgrade for sure, but are they ready for tier 1? And Zeta says, why do you think we put them on our academy roster to begin with?
Yeah, chat, why do you think? And this map just says it all. You saw it a little bit on Bind, but this one even more so because Yuran and Hiroran just absolutely held down their own on sites. When they pushed, they did so much. Not to mention Def and Laz, though, who are still firing off.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that now they're a little bit eased up. They don't have to hard carry every single map, and that's what a lot of people that have been cheering for this Japanese squad have hoped for. A great first showing. Still a long way to go, but quite a convincing one for Zeta Division.
Man, pressure not that hard. This is the new relaxed, loose, more aggressive Zeta, and it feels good. Meanwhile, for Global Esports, I mean, I still gotta say, right? Polvi, lightning fast, new pickups, new players being put in, and they can perform as well.
Yeah, I mean, lightning fast, he wanted that spot onto the main roster. He got it. He had some good moments. You call that Polvi as well. I would say Russ, actually, in the first map, quite a few good shots, but they'll have to wait for another day. Now it's time for an interview with our winners.
Our first winner for Day 2 BCT Pacific Kickoff goes to Zeta Division! Make some noise, people! Yes, congratulations, lad. It's good to see you back. 네, 오늘의 우승, 데이트 첫 번째 우승은 제타 디비전이 가져가게 됐습니다. 라즈 선수 만나보겠습니다. So, Laz, you've been picked as a key player from the coach right before the match started, so you definitely proved it today. So I want to ask you, what was your most satisfying move for today's game?
今日の、やった中の動きで一番自分的に納得感が高いものみたいなものって何がありますか？
そうですね、個人的というよりはやっぱチームとしてになるんですけど、全体で、うまく動けて連携も取れて、で相手に対してしっかり対策というか、そのなんていうんだろう、対応する戦い方をうまくきれいに支えたっていうのはすごい良かったなと思ってます。
It's more of a team movement kind of way, but we were able to sort of connect with each other, make movements, and work towards what the opponent is doing to us. So we were able to do a lot of teamwork, show a lot more teamwork with the new members, and it was really great.
네, 개인적인 전략보다는 팀워크가 정말 돋보였던 게임이었던 것 같은데요. 팀 내에서 서로 많은 협력과 함께 대화도 잘 통하고 그래서 이 게임의 승리를 이끌어낸 것 같다고 말했습니다. So I'm seeing new players, new vibe, and new strategies also. So how is your teamwork specifically to the details? How was your teamwork specifically in today's match?
新しいメンバーの2名が入って、特に今日、どういった面でその連携が取れたなっていう感じるところがありました。
細かいコミュニケーションもうまいし、その意図が通りやすい、意図をすぐに共有できるっていうのも強みですし、あと少人数戦の打ち合いの強さが光ったなと思ってます。
So the new members, we were able to communicate a lot more in detail, and it's easier with the new members, and it works really well to sort of communicate what we're actually thinking, and they understand what we're trying to tell them a lot more. And especially the new kids are really strong when we're shooting each other in small numbers, so they're really good in close fights, and it was really good.
네, 개인적으로도 이 두 선수가 보이는 전략이 매우 강하고 전 팀보다 좀 더 소통이 아주 활발하고 더 이야기가 많이 되고 있어서 조금 더 쉽게 게임이 풀리지 않았나 싶다고 답을 했는데요. 그러면 또 이번에 또 새로운 전략을 봤어요. 좀 차분했던 제타 디비전이 이번에는 좀 기다릴 땐 기다리고 아주 매서울 땐 또 매서운 전략을 가져갔거든요. 어떠한 변화가 있었는지 알아보겠습니다. We are seeing like new strats, you being more aggressive, also controlling the pace in the whole team. So what changes are going on your team?
今までにない作戦だったり動きみたいなのがたくさん見れたかなと思うんですけど、チーム内でどんな感じでの、作戦だったり練習が行われているんですか？
そうですね、カルラオコーチが知識を持ってきてくれたり、あとはアイスボックスのリワーク入ったりして、どう戦ってくるか分かんないっていうところで、どのチームがどう戦ってくるか分かんないっていうのもがあるので、自分たちでいろいろ試しながら、強い戦い方っていうのを見つけて、この本番でうまく出せたなっていう感じですかね。
So because we have a new coach, Carlau, he takes a lot of he brought a lot of new insight to our team, and as well, especially for Icebox, we've got Yuran doing moves that we haven't had before. And because in the situation right now, we don't know what other teams are doing at the moment because we've got no stats. But we were able to sort of figure out how to be strong on our own and figure out a way that we could become stronger without relying on the data that we don't have yet.
네, 아직 팀에 이제 막 시작 경기인 만큼 많은 정보가 없어서 조금 더 차분하면은 거기에서 나오는 것 같고, 또 코치님이 새로 오시면서 팀 내에서 많은 영감을 주고 있기 때문에 전략도 새롭게 바뀌면서 좀 더 공격적인 면도 나오지 않았나 싶습니다. So thank you for the interview, and we have the special wingman present for the fans. 네, 이제 인터뷰에 맞춰서 이제 선물을 또 팬분들에게 전할 건데요. Can you do a little sign on the
Sign?
Yeah, I got a
윙만プレゼントなのでサインをお願いしますということで。
You can do it wherever you want. Maybe on the side or the middle. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Oh, okay, on the back. Nice signature. And then 2 fans. We have one right there. Can we hear a shout? I think that part is the most interesting. And from the back also. It's up to you. Yeah, you can throw it to the
どこ
fans.
に投げていって好きなところ選んで
It's
投
your
げていって
present. Who gets the present for last? The winner's present goes to fans in the back. Oh yeah, you can throw it to the fans. Yes. Okay, Elias last was kind enough to go to the back and give it to the fans. Okay, thank you for the interview. Wish the best luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we are now going to look at the viewing party. Yes, there are many fans watching here and outside of Seoul. Yes, for the viewing party, we can see fans all around the world. We are going to look at fans in India, Mumbai for global esports. And the fans in South Korea. Oh yeah, hi guys! Wow, nice! We can all hear you shouting way back in India. It's a nice vibe y'all got having. Yes, thank you fans. And for the second match of the day, we are waiting for TS and Talent.
Oh boy, you know, the global esports fans, I love them. They've got so much energy and they just keep powering through no matter what the result. And honestly, global esports has some really good foundations. They kind of just need to harness that energy and that power they have, especially with Polvi on their team, and move forward. They're still in the game. It's not over for them yet. They're just moving to the lower bracket. But Zeta clears in a 2-0 in this game against global esports. Comms has clearly been a huge change for Zeta division, and that young energy they have with the new players, that new dynamic they have there, we're seeing a fresher Zeta.
No, we absolutely are. And I mean, any concerns that we had, we were talking about at the start of the day, you know, how are they going to feel coming out here onto the stage? Now it's the big leagues. It's no longer show matches. It's not off-season events. Yoron, good God, what performances from them. Yoron, especially in that second map, just coming out swinging with that Sova. Star-studded performance from him the entire way. And you can see Zeta oftentimes were disadvantaged. I mean, these are TRX, you know, last year's TRX level statistics where they're giving up these first kills, but they're still managing to clutch out the rounds in these 4v5, these 3v5s, whatever the statistic may be. They manage to come out on top, and a lot of that does boil down to clearer communication.
Yeah, and it just, again, just to kind of add to that from Hiron's perspective as well, a lot of the highlights that he's gotten as well was off of just his teammates being very confident in him making that. They were baiting for him a lot. Like, Depp would just go in with his blades, try to get as much impact as he can, and if he cannot, Huron is there to pick up the slack, and he does that multiple times throughout this Icebox map.
Absolutely, totally covered for Depp as well. I mean, they played off each other really, really well. Polvi, I mean, we got to mention that one round in the very beginning.
Oh, yeah, I mean, a risky play, Global deciding to go for that force buy once again after dropping yet another pistol, but that one, it absolutely paid off. Polvi looking phenomenal when it comes down to the sniping. That, you know, that outlaw in his hand, being able to pick up the 4K was really good, and it seemed like, okay, this is going to be Global rallying back. They have a solid read of how this Icebox is going to be played by Zeta, and they should be able to take the win here to try to tie things up. But that feeling, unfortunately, didn't last very long. Zeta, they came out swinging as soon as we swapped sides. It was just complete and utter dominance the entire way through, just basically riding that wave all the way into that 13 scoreline to be able to take it home. This was really good comfort to see from Zeta, because again, this is not a map that they have played in a very long time, not since 2022, and that was in a loss versus Northeption. So they have not brought this to the forefront in a considerable amount of time, and clearly they've been workshopping it a hell of a lot. Sugar Zero as well, props to him. The scoreline might not really tell the whole picture, but I liked some of the setups that he was going through. Clearly he's been putting some time into learning this harbor, which is something that I think he's only played twice in any sort of tracked capacity coming into this series. So this is his third showing on that agent ever, and overall I think that his util setups were very much on point.
Absolutely, especially with how they were playing just with that cove. Again, either to plant the spike or defuse the spike, whether it's attacking or defending. They really played around that so well that you saw how pressed Global Esports was just to kind of counteract that, and it still didn't pan out for them.
I'm really excited to see the matchup between Bleed and GE now, because I think both teams are ones that show that there is like a foundation here, but it needs to be built up more. So who can have a faster construction job here, I guess is kind of the question. Is it going to be Bleed? Can they get things together? Can they find those pop-offs from Ye? Are they going to pivot their strategy? And Global, can they continue to build off what we just saw here? Because I think if they fine-tune a couple of the things that we're seeing, they absolutely can have success. One of the things that I'm going to be curious to track is, do they continue trying to run this solo Viper controller that we now have seen for 2 maps in a row? Is it going to be Russ continuing to run this KO, where other teams still are kind of straying over towards Sky on those previously, you know, Sky-centric maps?
Yeah. And T1 versus Zeta, they're going to be facing off next. This will be really interesting as well. How are you feeling about that, SY?
I mean, I think the only word like I keep saying in any of these matches is just super excited, because again, Zeta, you already see how far the changes have been with the 2 additions again of Euron and Hiron, and it's already successful here. How is it going to deal with the T1 that we saw from yesterday, that even though it did go to the very limits up against Bleed Esports, it still was them having a really big showing in that first series.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that I would love to see, because I think both teams are very happy to play on the map, is Lotus. But after seeing T1 really picking apart Bleed yesterday, is that something that you still feel comfortable on? Does this identity of Zeta Division still feel comfortable on Lotus? If the answer is yes, then good God, give me the chamber matchup right now. Show me Laz versus Excavated, but that's for a future matchup.
That is definitely, that's very exciting, and I would love to see a Lotus matchup. Give it to us, give it to us. That said, guys, those of you watching at home, those of you access to your chat, tell us what you think, your reactions to all the games that have been happening so far. We're gonna go on a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're finally gonna see a bit of Group B.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Oh my God, that was insane. Swings the corner. We'll get yet another ace this weekend. Our inaugural VCT Pacific champions.
Hello, VCT fans. I'm extremely excited to introduce Valorant Champions Tour Pacific 2024. Last year's VCT Pacific run was amazing, with our players showing their unreal potential on the global stage. This year, there are big and exciting changes coming up. Here are the updates and everything you need to know about VCT Pacific 2024. VCT Pacific will now have 11 teams competing across the region, with Bleed Esports' recent promotion to the International League through Ascension 2023, and we cannot wait to see them on the stage. Now let's talk about the tournament schedules. This year's journey begins on February 17th in Seoul. VCT Pacific is split into 3 stages: Kickoff, Stage 1, and Stage 2. 2 Masters events are held in between each stage, and Champions will begin in August as the culmination of global competition for 2024. VCT Pacific Kickoff will be split into 3 phases. The first phase is a GSL format where teams are separated into 3 groups, and the team to come out in first in each group goes straight to the playoffs. The 3 teams who finish second will play in a single round robin where the winner joins the playoffs in a single elimination format. After the intense battle during VCT Pacific Kickoff, the top 2 teams will advance to Valorant Masters Madrid. Now let's look at VCT Pacific Stage 1. Each team will be split into 2 groups of 5 Alpha teams and 6 Omega teams. Alpha teams will fight against the Omega teams in a single round robin. The top 3 teams who emerge from each group advance to the playoffs and will play in a double elimination bracket. Here, the top 3 teams will be punching their ticket to Valorant Masters Shanghai. VCT Pacific Stage 2 has the same format as Stage 1, but this time the Alpha teams will compete against each other in their own group. Same goes for the Omega teams. The top 6 teams with the best performance over the course of Stage 1 and Stage 2 will make it through to the VCT Pacific Stage 2 playoffs. The top 3 teams in playoffs and the 1 team with the highest championship points will earn their ticket to Valorant Champions. Championship points are a fresh addition to the VCT ecosystem in 2024. Teams will earn championship points to qualify for Valorant Champions at the end of the year. Teams earn 1 point whenever they win a match during Stage 1 and Stage 2. They earn 3 points if they win Kickoff for Stage 1. Teams will also earn 3 points whenever they win a Masters event. The goal, ultimately, is to reward teams who have been the most consistent throughout the year. Only the best of the best will come out on top. The tide is rising and teams will collide and define their destiny in Valorant Champions Tour Pacific 2024. We'll see you all in Seoul, South Korea.
in my eyes, you seeing victory. We ain't taking L's, death to our enemies. You see the drip on me, you cannot get with me, you cannot stop me. Sit back and wait. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't got no fear. Sit back and take notes. Cause homie, we get here. Into the jungle. Into the jungle. What in the world, huh? You all of my nerves, huh? You never return, huh? When you enter in the jungle.
Welcome back to VCT Pacific Kickoff. I'm your host, Chubby Ninja, and with me I got my beautiful analysts. We got Asarai, we got Achilleos. He's obviously used to being called that.
Beautiful.
I'm feeling real good because we're finally going to see Group B. I'm really excited to see this. We're going to see an adjusted Team Secret and a completely revamped Talon from Thailand. Although it seems like there are a lot of North Americans on the team now.
There's a healthy mix is what we could say as far as Talon is concerned. But yes, it's been big changes. We just saw, another team that had monstrous changes in global esports. Couldn't get the win there. Talon, there's been a lot of eyes on this squad. We did get to see them a bit in the off season. Weren't able to win the tournament that they were playing in. That was the ESL Clash of Nations. But we're putting up a solid fight. And for a team that had recently come together, it seemed like there was going to be some strengths there. So now with more time to develop, we should expect a much stronger performance out of them here today.
Yeah, similar with Team Secret here. They offloaded 2 of their previous players, which one of them is actually playing on the other team, so there could be something happening there in terms of the narrative. But yeah, excited to see what the newest player addition for Team Secret is in NDG. He's been on the free agency for a couple of months now. Team Secret were happy when I guess he got through the vetting process, and now he's here in the Pacific League.
And we can see the players now. Team Secret, they looked really good, especially in the early part of the season last year. And they ended up finishing around 5th or 6th. And they actually faced up against Zeta during LCQ and lost that spot to Champions. So we're really excited to see this new iteration of Team Secret.
Yeah, I mean, that was unfortunate timing for Team Secret because that was right when that chamber came back through. Laz just had an absolute pop-up performance. Dep as well. That duo was going crazy to be able to get them through that LCQ. So Secret is catching that power spike that Zeta had hit right at the very end. But I'm curious to see how they really fixed up some of the flaws that we saw for them. Because yes, we do have JDG coming into this one. NDG, sorry. That's for a different tournament that's going to be starting in a couple days. But with NDG coming into this one, that means that we have one duelist player here. There's not that kind of fallback strategy that Secret did have last season, which was, okay, we're moving over to a map where the operator is going to be important. We need to put Dubstep over onto the Jet. We need to flip around our roles a little bit more because we just don't have the comfort there otherwise. They don't have that anymore. So how comfortable are they going to be? How much flexibility do they have in this roster is what I'm really curious to see from Secret.
Now, Talon, this is a bit of a painful graphic to be showing off. They finished 9th in the regular season last year in LCQ, around 5th or 6th. But they did show one surprising game. I'm going to say one map that they took off of Paper X last year. But it was on Pearl, which is one of Paper X's strongest maps.
Look, I mean, as much as we can compare and contrast Talon last season to this season, it's ultimately, it's not really worth it because the team is so very different. There's plenty of new faces that are coming into this Talon lineup. I mean, coaching staff has obviously been changed as well, so it's basically a completely different team. But the other thing is that, yeah, Talon, like, they had some moments last year, but they also had plenty of blunders. There was tons of series that Talon were playing in where it seemed like it was going to be winnable, where if they had just done one thing a little bit differently, maybe they could have closed out that map, maybe they could have won this round that would have then given them this momentum. But so often we were seeing them experiment with random things. Patty Pan was playing 17 different agents, never really getting to play anything twice in a row. Changes up on who was going to be playing in the lobby at given times, as well as just wild and bizarre strategies with the triple duelist attempt over on Split and that sort of thing. So with all of that going out the window, hopefully, I think that we can expect a very different display here from Talon.
It's gonna be hard. They faced off a lot last year, but like you said, it's a completely different roster now for Talon, or almost anyway. But Team Secret, let's get a real intro to NDG. Asarai, you're from the Philippines. Tell us, who is NDG and why should we care?
I feel very down if I actually don't give him any information whatsoever. Anyways, NDG was a former now esports player. He was very high in that particular team where he was duo as well with Mojo. Both of them went into the free agency, and like I said, they were able to, or he was able to get a slot here to play with the Team Secret roster. And real quickly enough, he was very known for his anchoring capabilities or even his Soba. So him slotting into Team Secret when they needed someone to be that anchor fits well with what the team needs now.
And now we're looking at Lenny. You had mentioned this. He was a sub at Team Secret, and now he's the IGL of Talon? What?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really wild arc for Lenny because not only was a sub, we saw him subbed in once, and it was in one of the most critical moments that it possibly could have been in, and unfortunately, he wasn't put in a position to have a really solid performance in that game, and that was a part of the the Team Secret demise last season. Now he goes over on Talon. He's in an opportunity where he can get some revenge on his previous organization, but he's IGLing, and we don't really know what to anticipate from this whatsoever. Whereas Jesse Vash, a much more known quantity as far as like what kind of strats he likes to go for. Fairly loose. We know that he likes to play the Soba. He likes to garner information for his teammates, but we don't really know what to expect from Lenny here.
I mean, Aster, how are you feeling about this? Jesse is, he is so well known, not in just Valorant, in esports. And he's facing off against Lenny as IGL.
Yeah, true. And again, it's already said there in the graphic that Lenny might know the ins and outs of how Team Secret are thinking about, but Team Secret, they're a team that I feel like still has some great mid-round calls, so might not be as clear-cut for Lenny here to find that counter against his former teammates.
Well, this is going to be very exciting. And now you can see our predictions here. Quack is soaring with Talon today, but the rest of us is on the Team Secret train. Shout out to Razzie Binks, Team Secret streamer, definitely streaming this right now. All right. Achilles, why are you voting for Team Secret this time around?
I think that Secret still, even with the flaws that they had last season, have a solid enough foundation to build off of, and they don't have to make too many playstyle changes to basically integrate NDG into this roster. So I think that they're at a higher jumping off point compared to Talon, but I also think that this could end up being a very close series. I think that, Coach Frost here for Talon, he has just been on the grind, so he has been working these guys hard to try to get them ready for this series. And having spent a little bit of time with the team, they are all getting along incredibly well. It seems like, as far as the vibes are concerned, everybody is very much on the same page as one another. And they've also been working up some interesting strategies that maybe we'll get to see here today. So I'm really curious if that's going to come into play. But just from what I've been seeing, I think that Talon has put in a solid amount of effort here at the time that they've had with this roster so far. But I think that Secret is just a little bit ahead of them, but I could be wrong.
I mean, Cruz could also be teaching them some K-pop moves. There's a lot of synchronization happening with Talon. But Team Secret, okay, we're gonna put all the biases aside. Team Secret is a really strong team.
Yeah.
But I want your hot take on who the key player is from Team Secret.
Okay, so when all of the other teams that we've been talking about, for today has been like Depp, Polvi, all frontline players, it's not those, or it's not that role that I think Team Secret really shines on. It's actually someone in the middle, with Envy actually being that, I think, star player. He joined Team Secret, I believe, last year, made a huge splash. So with him, I feel like he's the one that really creates that tempo with those mid-round plays that Team Secret likes to do.
Now, we are going to hear from the coaches themselves. I'm really excited. Warbirds was such an interesting character that we got to speak to last year. And now, the new coach, Frost. Welcome to Pacific.
Okay, they're not quite ready at the moment here, but it's fine.
I'll send my welcomes ahead of time.
We'll get to those guys.
But let's talk about this actually anyway with Frost and Boy. Boy came in a little bit later in the season as an assistant coach. What kind of, stylistically, what were we expecting from Talon?
It's hard to say. I mean, Frost, I haven't watched too many of his previous teams. As it
I'm going to
turns out,
interrupt you,
North America,
even though I asked you, we're going to go over to the coaches.
Before we head into Team Secret versus Talon Esports rematch, let's have a chat with Warbirds from TS and Frost from Talon. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Oh, that was a sweet hello. Okay, from first, Warbirds from TS. it's your rematch with Talon. So how do you feel? Because you have won at the previous season, at the first match. 그래서 이번에 또 탈론과 TS가 다시 대결을 하게 됐는데요. 어떤 감정이 드는지 묻겠습니다. 왜냐면 저번 시즌에는 첫 경기에서 이제 TS가 이겼거든요.
Yeah, we're pretty confident in the matchup. Obviously, it's a whole different team, a whole new staff, whole new everything. So we're just focusing on ourselves and hoping that we can have a nice, close, and fun match.
모든 게 새롭게 바뀌었지만 더욱더 자신감이 있기 때문에 더욱더 재미난 경기를 할 수 있을 것 같다고 답변을 들었습니다. Now let's ask Ross from Talon Esports. What do you feel about meeting TS as your first opponent?
On a personal level, I think it's really unfortunate for me because I was formerly GM. I hired Warbirds. I have a lot of love for Warbirds and the players, me and Jesse Bash. I love the ownership of Warbird on Team Secret. They're super great. So it's unfortunate that my first matchup happens to be people I like, but at the end of the day, we came here to do a job. We didn't come here to lose.
일단 월버즈과 감독과 개인적으로 친분이 있고 전에도 함께 있었기 때문에 첫 번째 매치로 만나게 된 게 조금 안타깝긴 하지만 그래도 재미난 경기를 풀어나겠다고 답변을 받았습니다. Yeah, I'm sure both coaches have high expectations for the match. So let's also ask about how you prepped for today. So how did you prep for the match against Talon?
Yep, so a lot of it was just focusing on ourselves. There's new maps in rotation, there's new patches, so a lot of it was focusing on us and trying to draw what little we can from like solo queue and stuff like that.
네, 새롭게 바뀐 맵과 전략들이 많기 때문에 우리 팀 자체에 집중하는 것에 더 핵심으로 삼았다고 답변을 들었습니다. Then what about you, Frost? How did you prep for the match against TS?
So for me, I kind of had a little bit of an advantage because I'm so close with them. So for our perspective, we basically just focused really heavily on the picks and bans. And since we know he's like a very good coach, we kind of had an idea of trying to be a little bit more tricky than normal. So I'm very curious to see if you can figure us out.
네, 월버즈 감독과 좀 친분이 있기 때문에 저희 팀은 이제 좀 더 맥픽에 집중을 했는데요. 이런 좀 다양한 맥픽에 대해서 TS가 어떻게 반응할지 또 TS는 어떤 걸 준비했을지 좀 궁금하다는 답변을 받았습니다. Yeah, we're all excited for the upcoming match, but do you have anything to say to each other? Last moment?
You are still the homie. But not this one. Not today. Today's not your day.
네, 좀 친한 친구지만 오늘만큼은 좀 어려울 것 같다고 경고를 했는데요. And for Warbirds?
Yeah, I love a lot of the people on the team, but I'm sorry we got to take it today.
I respect it.
네, 팀 저 친분을 인정하지만 오늘만큼은 아닐 것 같다고 두 팀이 이제 피스펌프와 함께 경고를 날렸네요. Thanks for the interview, both coaches. The best of luck
Thank you
for
very
your
much.
team.
I'm really excited for this. That was so cute. The little banter between the coaches. I didn't realize how close they were. But of course.
This is like when you are in like a minor baseball league and your brother's on the other team and you have to play against each other. That's kind of what the vibes felt like between that one. I think I need to get in there and maybe coach both of them on their smack talk because some of that was a little bit weak. But I think maybe they're trying to maintain the friendship. But you know, all's fair in love and war. But I'm really curious to see how this one's going to go down because, I mean, like Frost was kind of alluding to there, it says that we have some tricks up our sleeve. As long as that's not triple duelist nonsense, then I'm all for it. I'm very curious to see what kind of tricks they do have prepared, if they have a solid read on Team Secret.
Yeah, at least for me, I'm just doing another one of my guesses where I feel like how I mentioned about how Envy's going to be the big star player here for Team Secret. It's going to be their mid-round calls. Talon, when I saw them in Clash of Nations, and thankfully I was the one of the talents that was covering that, they really put a lot of emphasis on Governor. Granted, that was a couple of months ago, so it might have changed within that span of time, but they really put a lot of emphasis on how very aggressive this import from North America is and could be playing through that strength coming into this one because, again, I don't really feel that Jeremy has really proven himself from last year specifically.
Whoa. Sorry.
I was just going to say a little bit bold. I mean, I don't necessarily fully disagree with you, but I mean, Jeremy did also have plenty of highlight moments. I mean, one of the, maybe the fastest saves of all time with that play on Haven, which course, with the draft coming up, we should mention, of course, the Haven is not in the pool anymore for Secret.
True.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we were talking about this, Haven being such an incredible map for Team Secret. What kind of maps are we expecting this time around?
Again, if I'm just looking at my memory on what Team Secret was known for before Haven, it was bind and split. So if they can maybe gravitate towards that, but again, with the addition of NDG, them being a 5-man roster now, there's so many other things that they can focus on that maybe they have another, some different maps. I did remember the last tournament that Team Secret did play, and this is the reason why I am still kind of up in the air about what statistics I have for them in terms of maps, is they only played Haven in that one particular tournament, only Haven. And when it went into a best of 3, that's when they only changed up because, you know, there were more maps to play.
Yeah, well, maybe it was on purpose.
It
right?
probably was.
It was last month or weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they would make such a decision.
I think this Haven, Haven being out of the pool does affect both teams to a certain extent. A lot of the highlights that I think of when I, the cruise especially comes to mind, also take place on Haven. Some of those moments where he's sneaking around out of A main, gets himself into window, and just mows down 3 people in B. That was also a fairly comfortable map for them, but I think widely, I'm not sure what to expect whatsoever from Talon, because as far as I'm concerned, the slate is wiped clean. Last year, I don't think it's harsh of me or unfair of me to say was
returns
a bit
on
squandered.
a mission to reach Champions 2024. Here to take the winner's ticket, it's Team Secret. Unique strategies and witty techniques, the Pacific Jesters are back with reinforcements. Ladies and gentlemen, Talon Esports.
Both teams are here. We'll begin the map veto for the second match of today. We'll be doing a coin toss to determine the higher seed. Heads will be Talon, and tails will be Team Secret. So it's going to be tails. So Team Secret, you may not choose whether to be Team A.
All right, well, now we can get into this one. See where exactly we're going to end up. Talon does have the first ban. A lot of curiosity about this, because as I was saying before the walkouts came through, I think widely the slate from last year should be wiped clean, because it's a very different team very different coaching staff and a very different identity here. So Icebox just get taken away. And you were referencing, Asarai, that split might be a comfort pickup here for the side of Team Secret, but they're actually banning it away.
Yeah, now that I've actually gone and checked my notes, Team Secret's, yeah, there you go. Last year's most highest win rate map for them during Pacific League was actually Ascent. It was the only map where every single time they played it for like 5-7 games ever since has been all wins. So makes a lot of sense, and happy to see it's there. But Breeze for a talent selection here, they might be looking something to spread out this defense that Team Secret has. And again, they haven't played this map in a long time, so everything is up in the air for this one.
The Lotus is another one that I'm a little bit surprised to see Secret ban away, because they did have some very solid proficiency. And, you know, Jesse Bash's, just him opting to run that Sova on that map every single time was catching teams off guard a lot of times when it came down to his timings with the darts and whatnot. And not everybody really understood his timings nor his lineups that he was going to have on that. They take it away to leave Sunset out in the open for them. So it would be a debut for both of the teams on that map here in VCT. So if this one ends up going the distance, which I have a strong feeling that it very well could, then we will get to see how they pilot that map and if they have something a bit more unique there as well. My biggest concern for Secret going back to Ascent is, again, this is where we would see Dubstep being swapped over onto that Jet so that he could op. So what is the comfort going to look like for Jeremy now?
I don't think I've ever seen him op as well, so that's going to be something to definitely see if he's picked up the sniper or he's just going to be maybe on a raise and then there's some kind of iteration that's different from what we saw last year that they're going to be bringing into Ascent. Another thing I just wanted to add real quick on Breeze, the Talent might actually want to try to bring out NDG into the open because of how big of a map that is, and he's going to be maybe soloing sites as that Sentinel. They could be looking at to spread him thin and try to make him the weak point of Team Secret on that Breeze map.
But I mean, it is just another one here where you have these long sight lines where that operator can find an immense amount of value. Marshall, you know, Outlaw, whatever it may be, having that long range scoped in gun, it's going to find value for you almost no matter what. So Secret need to be prepared to try to pilot around that one, because you can be damn sure that we are going to be seeing that very likely in his hands as well.
Well, the first map is going to be Breeze. I mean, like you guys said, what I'm very curious about the team comms is Team Secret going to lean heavily into their comfort picks. I expect Jesse to remain, you know, the Sova king as he is.
Especially on this map, you pretty much have to go for that one. The Sova still finds an immense amount of value. I mean, even just yesterday, where we had Breeze as the opening map between Bleed and T1, we saw those Sovas on either side from the likes of Crazy Guy and Carpe. So I think that it would be the most shocking thing if we go into Breeze and Jesse Vesh is not playing that Sova, but it's more about what is going to be going alongside it. Is it going to be Jet? How many other teams have been fooling around with trying to make this Yoru work? Because we also saw an immense amount of impact yesterday from Izu. Is that something that Talent have up their sleeve? They said that they've been messing around with some stuff. They've got some tricks that they're going to bring out here onto the stage to try to really mess with Team Secret. Is that Yoru a part of the formula?
And of course, we're always also very curious about stylistically how Talon's going to end up performing. I'm expecting a lot more aggression and a lot more cohesion coming from this team this year around.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that they need. Everything that you could list was basically lacking from Talon last season. But again, there was that foundation. It was just the decision-making from coaching staff, whatever it may be, to try.
Wow.
Okay. Well, screw what I was about to say, because it's not important anymore. All right, we have a big old blend coming through here. Talon bringing in the Harbor Vipers to the double controller. The Sova, of course, is going to be there, but they're going for the Neon Yoru, combining what we saw from T1 and Bleed yesterday.
That's very, like, that is a hyper-aggressive comp, even coming out on the defense. Imagine how little map control they have because they don't have the Sentinel. They're going to have to move around the map to alleviate the lack of Sentinel control. That being said, there's also the nifty combo between the Yoru and the Sova that we'll probably see later on when they have their ultimates, but yeah.
And they have 3 walls to slice up the map as they like. I mean, there are different ways that, they're definitely cooking something. And we're going to start. Let's go over the casters. Will and Quack are going to take us through all the action.
Thank you very much, Chubby, Ninja, Asteroid, and Achilles. Yes, this is one heck of a mix-up of a composition for Talent, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and if this was the same roster as last year, we'd start to have our questions, but this is their first showing. They're here to prove something And honestly, they touched upon some of the hints, the ingredients, right? We've seen why some of the agents individually have been picked up on Breeze so far in kickoff. See if it comes all together into one nice dish.
Still, I mean, what Asarai said definitely makes sense, because on the defensive side, especially with halls being opened up, if you're not watching that with the Sentinel, how are you going to make it happen? I guess with just gunshots peeking into shop, they managed to start things off with a double kill.
What a way to open your debut in VCT Pacific. Governor, a lot of people had questions about the pickup, but trying to silence the doubters from the pistol round in the very first match.
Already finding something, but still Ban kind of over-aggressing a little bit too much, does get fallen down by Borkum. So with that, a little bit more space, Team Secret gets to recover for just a second, maybe setting up for that A-split push.
Yeah, good back out from Governor. Of course, a bit of a mishap coming down from Halls, but I mean, they should still be able to find some good shots. Cruz will eventually clean up that kill, and that makes things a lot easier. The door open is a good sign for Governor as well, and just Jesse Vash left spotted. Okay, comms a little delayed, but Governor will find the headshot.
That's just a quick start already. I mean, we're thinking about Governor, and I think that's one of the main things that this entire roster is built around. Asarai mentioned it a little bit as well in their ESL Clash of Nations games, that this entire roster was built around him. They want to support him. He's the duelist, and he's here to frag. And this first round says it all.
Yeah, I mean, even in the Emerge video, Lenny talks about how he was actually impressed with the playmaking and kind of the smart decisions that Governor is able to make. Now on the Neon, some extra utility to work around as well with things like the fast lane and the relay bolt. We saw that from Ye yesterday, who had a decent opening match in terms of his own performance. Governor another kill here in A main, trying to say this is my home for the first half on the defense.
All right, supported by Cruz as well with that cascade. I mean, it's just starting things off. You're already picking up the Phantom round 2. You're just looking to hold on to that thing to maybe secure the bonus round as well. It's just so much going into this. Lenny tries to hold up Tunnel, able to take down one. It's information enough for Talon.
Yeah, and only the Ghost as well. I don't mind it at all. In fact, I like it, right? They're very aware of the fact that, okay, you're the one with a pistol. You could push out a bit. Yeah, you might have questions about its Sova, etc., but at the end of the day, this is an anti-eco. What matters is you win the round and that you're not giving away any extra weapons. You want to carry over these long-range rifles into the bonus. Ban, good shot from long range. NDG staying alive behind the wall. This deep dig in from Envy, though. He's already all the way through Nest. I don't think they're going to suspect the timing here.
However, he's only got a classic, so you got to close in the distance. You got to be able to, you know, get a quick double tap in or something, because if not, Envy might not be able to do all too much. High Tide blocks off so much. Governor spots him out. Easy cleanup. Easy second round win for Talon.
Yeah, if he had a Sheriff, I think we'd get a lot more excited for the potential there, but also gets spotted right at the end. Doesn't have the long-range weaponry, and things go as planned. Dropping just the Marshal by, so the importance with the Phantoms, and then you actually have the overdrive on Governor now as well. You pass over the rifle, you have some good capabilities to push out even with the overdrive. Really tighten up the map here on a bonus.
Not to mention, Lenny was holding onto a Ghost. I mean, economy just looks great for Talon in round 3 to maybe potentially carry this over into a bonus. So the question is for Team Secret, I mean, what is their game plan? Because so far, out on the attack, it hasn't worked out so well, especially when Governor continues to push out into A shop.
Revealing area.
They're not going to push out right away. I like the patience from Talon. Wait for some early contact. You know that the opponents have to play a bit slow. They don't want to take any big risks just yet.
Okay. Yeah, they've adapted to this already.
Oh, and look at this. They pull back. I mean, second Cascade used, maybe a bit of an extra investment in terms of utility, but the point is they pressured and they let them know that it's a Neon there with a relay bolt. Now they're trying to really just funnel them into A main.
Just checking around. Nobody's here, though. Team Secret just waiting things out. Yes, you've picked up the overdrive, but that thing can burn out as well if it doesn't find any kills. So that might be their idea. However, you are running out of time, so it might be sensible to make a move. Ban, however, seeing that they made a move, takes one out, tries to look for another, gets gunned down by Envy instead. A little bit sharper, and with that, maybe a bit of an opening. Cruz hiding inside of the cove, though. Turns back around, doesn't expect to play from Halls. Here comes Governor, picks up the Vandal, tries to wall bang, can't quite find all too much.
Already a lot of damage done, and if Talon very easily could get at least another kill with Jeremy so low, still a very doable round for Talon, trying to lead with a Dominant 3-0 half. The comms just not there about Jeremy potentially still being around the switch.
Just a bit of that mix-up of a 50-50 angle or something. I'm not too sure, but whatever it is, it's all down to Governor's shoulders right now. And with a 1-on-3, even with a Kuronami Vandal, it's just a little bit too much.
Yeah, we don't want to read into things too much too early, but of course, I mean, they've talked about how, obviously, great credit to JetBoys, who is the one who mainly has to try to catch up to this language barrier as they've switched to a primary English calling. Everyone else has experience calling in English and communicating, so it could be part of that, but just something about it, maybe being pressed for time, bit of a mishap. But at the end of the day, bonus round, you're still getting away with a Vandal, so Talon, the result is not poor, but we'll see if those kind of hiccups start to show throughout the map.
On the other hand, for Team Secret too, I mean, what a way for Envy to really break open the site. It was some trades going off back and forth, but at the same time, just a clear idea of how to set up this split. And that's the other thing too, because although it's great early round aggression from Talon on their defensive side, they leave a lot open, and you can see that Jeremy exploited just right that on A-Halls.
Yeah, a very aggressive dig into Halls as well, of course, now opened back up. So props to Jeremy. A big risk you take as that primary jet. Oh, it's a little too high. He sent it up from a little too far. NDG, welcome to VCT. Gets shut down on that first death. He's gonna have to reconsider how he sets up those tripwires from long range.
That's a rude awakening. Team Secret just trying to find ways still, but feeling some of these old patterns. They're not quite able to find all too much unless they get the information that they need. And with so many early aggressive plays coming out from Talon, they're starting to feel that heat. So just trying to escape that for a second. I mean, they keep holding back, but Talon's just going to keep pushing out.
Yeah, and Talon has the read now, right? They've pushed out. They knew it was the Cypher. They didn't see any other further info from mid or on B main. Good shots from Lenny as well. Nowhere to go for Team Secret.
Yeah, Recon just confirms even more, so they know it's very much so an investment into the A site. As long as everyone here stays tucked in, it's probably good enough. However, with the Owl Drone being committed, it's an easy frag kill for Envy. With the pushes out though, yeah, it's just way too much. Ben coming up from behind too. This round is over.
And Ban's been this guy who's just walking out every round up to a certain point. Gate crashes back, then scouts out the other side. Almost just like a deadly drone. And so far, I would say successful. Even if he doesn't get contact on a map like Breeze, if you're able to dig deep and then gate crash back, a lot of information gained. Works very well in timing with Governor's pushouts in these first kills as well. I mean, whatever plan that Talon had, it has been working out. And we'll have to take a quick break, but hopefully it gets sorted out ASAP.
Hopefully. Yeah, it did look a little bit weird, but whatever it is, still, I mean, the kills were kills, and you can definitely see that this is the game plan that Talon has brought to this map. Yeah, this is why they picked it.
And the Des talked about it, right? You have to play it. I totally agree. You even have the double controller. The Harbor can help with pushouts as well. And that's the only way you're going to feel comfortable at your defaults on a wide map like Breeze. And so far, it's working. Now the question is, you still have something like the Cypher. Now, obviously, you got to be careful how you put up your tripwires. But Team Secret, they do have tools to answer to this, one way or another. Whether it's you always go in as 5 and you start to rush and make sure that they can't just comfortably push out, have a good post plant, or do you always wait for the early picks? And that's up to you to decide. Obviously, they can't discuss it here, as we do have a tech pause on a timeout. But we'll see what the adjustment is, because this has now been the consistent story in the past couple of rounds, the first rounds of this match.
Yeah, you really got to find those gaps to really exploit this game plan that Talon has, because although you are pushing out a lot, although it can be really successful, there are little bits where it still leaves a little bit more for Talon to exploit, and we saw that in round 3, despite the good ideas from Talon.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious how, because I want to see how Team Secret answers back, because I have faith that they will, and then I want to see what the next page looks like from Talon. Because the attacking side, I think we have some good ideas on how Talon expects to play around it, and that'll come down to execution. Of course, the Yoru can continue to kind of poke and prod, kind of mess up the Cypher setups as well, and then the Neon's still there available for the actual execute with things like the fast lane. But on this defensive side, if they keep getting away with these, and I wouldn't say it's for free either. I would say a couple of these, I mean, Team Secret's ready, and Governor's just getting the first kill.
It just is Governor getting that first kill. I mean, repeated so many times. This map could be over that quick. So, of course, you know, there might be some issues here and there. There are a lot of Team Secret supporters.
Oh, yeah, we've got supporters on both sides. But you love to see it. Obviously, a very passionate group of fans that we've come to know and love. And Team Secret, they talk about it themselves. They were so close, and not necessarily in terms of scoreline at the very last match that always mattered, but they always got to the match that mattered to get to Masters, to get to Champions, and then they just weren't able to clinch that ticket. Now, they say, we don't think our ideas were wrong. All we need is to kind of just, shore up a little bit more firepower, just one change on the roster, and then we want to push in. We want to make it to those international stages and how we see how we do against a lot tougher competition.
It really makes you think, like, is that one change enough, though? I mean, we're all banking a lot on this first kickoff match. There might be a lot that changes up. There are some snacks in the crowd because of our awesome pop-up booths at this entire event.
Yeah, there's pizza at the pub downstairs. So if you are here and for some reason listening to us on your phone here at the venue, definitely go down, grab a slice, grab a drink.
Grab me a slice, Will.
Me? I mean, sure, if you want a solo cast for a little bit, especially during this pause, I'm all for it. Trial by fire, let's go for it. I've done my share in my past years, so.
Sure enough, and then I get rewarded with pizza. I think that's a pretty good deal, right? Right? Okay.
And listen, your standards, it's up to you, man. that's not quite what I'm looking forward to.
Big race. Yeah, you're just going to push me to the deep end of the pool. But, I mean, main thing is still, is it going to be enough for Team Secret? There's so much at stake. I mean, there's that team revamp storyline. Is it just enough for Team Secret to pick up one new player, or is it still their old ideas? Or, you know, on the other hand, for Talon, is this whole new team revamp enough for them to kind of show us a new performance? Because we have a new coach. We got Lenny, who used to be with Team Secret. I mean, how much can change around?
Yeah, I'm curious. And again, it is still early on in the half that Team Secret can't answer back. And we're starting to see a lot of teams experiment. I'm pretty convinced that no team should be too surprised by the Euros anymore, right? Surely if multiple teams are experimenting with this, you've seen it in some scrims here or there. We've even seen it during the offseason from multiple teams as well across different tournaments around the world. So the comp itself shouldn't be too shocking, but perhaps, of course, the combination with Neon, you know, a little bit of extra blue here on Breeze, not something we're used to seing.
Breezy blue, I don't know. It looks really good.
Sounds like an
really
ice cream flavor, honestly. Yeah, or Blue Breeze.
Blue Breeze. Okay, Blue Breeze sounds nicer, actually. I'm not great at giving out names. Look at what I named myself. All right, but I mean, yeah, it's really a good composition because what we're seeing with the aggressive plays that they can put out, the pressure that they can apply to the attacking team, it makes you play a lot of mind games, and it kind of forces you to play defense while you're on attack. Timer runs down. It just doesn't feel comfortable. But there is that gap. We saw it in round 3.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's not like this looks like an absolute impeccable thing. It doesn't look like necessarily that, oh, this is absolutely the comp that is going to run everything through. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, I'm just very curious because, again, Secret is a fairly known value. Sure, you know, an extra member or a new member, supposedly more firepower, things like that. But they've even said we think our direction, our color, our philosophy wasn't wrong. We just want to carry through with it. So now the question is once they answer back, because they often have decent round reads, right, and some good mid-rounding as well. Talon, the new comp, the new players, how do they gel together? Lenny's calling as an IGL now on Talon.
That is definitely a new thing.
How does that respond to Jesse's first answer? And I mean, Lenny's been watching Jesse for the whole year last year. He's been sitting behind him.
I think it's a really interesting thing. Here's what a lot of people don't know. I mean, we haven't seen that much of Lenny in VCT Pacific. That much is true. We don't know what he plays or what he's capable of. But coming from the Malaysia-Singapore scene, I can tell you that Lenny is a very strong Sova player. Back when he was playing for Bleed, back when he was with Darian and Juicy
Just
and the boys.
remind me, like, what year, what patch are we talking about?
Really long ago, 2022.
Okay, because if we were allowed to talk about that, I'm allowed to talk about the time Jemkin outfragged something, you know, back in like patch 4.11 or whatever it was. So.
I mean, I'm just saying because we haven't really seen too much of him, but those, you know, skills, those talents are still very much prevalent in Lenny's toolkit. And at the same time, having been studying under Team Secret, under Warbirds, under Jesse Vash, he could definitely have picked up quite a bit.
All right, well, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. No deja vu. We don't like to live in the past here, and it's going to be round 4. Rifles still in hand for Team Secret, and of course, Talon now buying up after that bonus in the previous one.
New composition. Now they've started to play things a little bit more slow as we move forward into the next round. Team Secret trying to set up for that execute. Cloudburst in. Jeremy dashes right through, but immediately stunned up thanks to the relay bolt. Governor doing God's work. Second kill going through. And that's just a huge wall right in front of Team Secret. They cannot break past B.
Beautiful relay bolt. And you could just tell Jeremy wasn't quite expecting that one. Not really sure where to hold his angle because he's not going to be able to swivel on a beat, which he's very well known for. Shuts him down. And Governor now already taking mid control as well. NDG just can't find a beat against the duelist of Talon.
Now 2 players left. Talon's star duelist looking to line up even more heads. One more to get that quad, and he does.
I mean, combating that wide swing as well, just the reset. Doesn't hold for the spray, knows that it's still Jesse Vash going for the wide peak. Governor, we've heard his confidence. He is 10-0-2 in his debut at VCT Pacific.
Not just some pickup from NA, not just some tier 2 guy, whatever. He's here, and he's definitely fitting in on Talon Esports.
Over 2 kills per round so far. Sure, only 4 rounds, but 0 deaths to that as well. He's taking fights and taking names away from Team Secret.
I think that's the other thing too. Right? He's not overheating all too much. He could have, you know, pushed even more into B, but he just held his ground and then peeked back out towards elbow. Now onto the next. Jeremy tries to do the same thing towards a different site, but still leaves all too much, all too open for Team Talon to take them down. Jit Boys, Lenny finding a double of their own.
Sure, a weaker round from Team Secret, but if your weak round, by the way, it's not that late into the game. We're only on to round 6 for that one, or round 5, and if your answer is, well, Hail Mary it, see if it works. I mean, sure, you kept note of Governor's previous position, but we're not starting to see Team Secret try to dig for solutions here. But no timeout, so clearly Warbirds has faith that they're able to figure this out in the server.
And they're gonna have to try something different at some point or another. They've got the full buy now, they have to make it work. Just a wide strike from Jesse Vash this time. Governor overheating a little bit too much. Can't compliment him, and it's gonna be Jesse Vash finding yet another. B site is open this time.
Deco not gonna bite either, but man, that does allow him to continue to flank back around if he so chooses.
Portal closed.
All right, there it is. Can't go for the flank anymore. Toxic screen is an obstacle, and they're trying to make their way through it, waiting for it to drop down. Meanwhile, the rest of Team Secret just holding their angles. They haven't been exposed all too much. NDG jumps up, and that reveals a little bit more. Snake bite, however.
Snake bite.
And that means Borkamaster kind of repositioned. However, timer is ticking. And given what Team Secret has, it's just a little bit more.
Ban! Oh, this guy, he's been waiting to get back to be able to play the roles an agency loves. And even here, Governor still given that primary duelist position, but playing with confidence. Get some frags on the board.
Pushing up, playing off of his teammates' contacts. He managed just to find all those frags. I mean, we saw him on T1 last year. He was very capable as a duelist, sometimes flexing off the different agents, but maybe freed up to do a little bit more on this Talon Esports roster.
Yeah, I mean, playing to his role's strength, right? You're there to scout, but once you're on the retake, Governor down, now you're the one who's there for the trades. You're the one who wants to go in and finish the job. And now the timeout does come out. Warbird saying he's not liking the answers he's finding. Now that previous one, I mean, they were prepared for it. They heard the cascade, so they go for the wide peak, the double swing. Yeah, in these micro situations, the answers are there. But then the retake. I thought even the repositioning after in the post plant was a good idea, but Talon with a clean retake. one by one, eliminating angles, and always making sure that they have a trade member ready.
Yeah, now that it's down to 5-1 as well, it's just... At some point, you're going to be stuck playing catch-up, so a lot needs to be changed up. And what we're seeing from Team Secret, that blind kind of diving in from Jeremy, it just doesn't quite work out. And Governor is just such a huge issue. Looking at how Frost is communicating with the team as well, it feels as though Talon has a trick up their sleeve, like they're anticipating something more.
Yeah, and if you ever watched Coach Frost in any of the previous teams he's been on, or even during the offseason, like, he will always have a lot to share. He's just ready to just pump out the information any chance he gets for the players. The question always becomes, can they digest it? But it seems like they have a lot of faith in each other for kickoff.
Well, we're seeing another outlaw. Oh my goodness! Half armor, you get chewed right through. Relay bolt now just to keep them at bay, and he still taps away on that overdrive. It does tag up Borkum for a little second. He's down to half HP. The rest of them all pinned down and stuck inside of this cave.
I mean, if you watch the video that VCT Pacific put out, Benkai tried to tell him he's not the governor around here, but I think Talon's governor is here to stay.
Yeah, he looked pretty menacing in that video.
Governor's a pretty decent actor. That's what I found out in all these extra content. If you look at the Surf announcement video from Talon, Governor's shocked face is like legitimate shock.
Yeah, not to mention the one where we go through like all of Talon's roles, the hacker, the big brain, everything. I mean, the mastermind, excuse me.
Yeah, but so far, he's not going to need that backup plan for his career, because this is a great first showing, and a good call on the Outlaw buy as well. You have so many creds, but yet you want to make sure you're really snowballing the economy. You know that they don't have full buys this round.
Yeah, also just a good call. Like previous rounds, you know, Team Secret went B, it doesn't work out there, execute. So probably they're gonna go A, and it's a good call. It connects onto a third. Jesse Vash now trying to go for the close range duel, but Governor and Lenny swapped over the shorty. You can still shoot me for days, I'm gonna take you down.
Oh, it doesn't matter if the Outlaw only has 2 shots, we'll just add 2 more to the shorty. That's 4 shots always at the ready for Governor.
It's another 4.
It's another 2+2. A little bit of a theme today. Oh man, that collab hurts. I mean,
especially for the player behind.
Yeah, this is just what a read from Talon. Good shots from Governor too, and good movement from Neon at the end. I mean, if you really want to dig all the way to the micromanagement of it.
Definitely.
Go, go, go.
15-1-5. A 15.0 KD, 7 rounds into his first match in VCT Pacific.
Pretty soon building up to his next ultimate. Ban on the operator now. Jeremy opping as well. But we've got that dimensional drift available. So that kind of cancels out any potential Viper's pits.
It's a good hold.
I like, tapping the pause for Talon. Oh no, but it allows for Jeremy to find an opening pick.
Time to jump.
And then the trade.
Yeah, answer right back. And Jeremy was trying to get ready for it too, but Ban's just half a step quicker.
Now you've lost your head. Team Secret. It's going to be that much more difficult to push through. I mean, not unless, I would have to think it's down to Envy.
Yeah, it's always so rough on Breeze. If your Jet is still the main operator, if you're trying to pick that up for the attack, obviously it's a great wild card. It's a great weapon to try to get the first pick, but as soon as they get picked off or you spend too much time, you just don't have a great way to break into sight. You're right, the null command's still available for Envy. That's an option. The KOs, they've gotten aggressive before.
Oh, there it is. Flash out. Oh, but the toxic screen timing! It blocks off the flash, allows for Governor to tap away, and he just finds them through that green curtain.
Yeah, by the way, no extra shots from Cruz on that because there's no assist, so it was just Governor getting Envy right through the toxic screen. He's like, my gosh.
That went a little bit too haywire. Borkum managing to bring things back under Team Secret's control. They picked up the players, they picked up the spike, but here comes Ban. Oh, dimensional drift. What is this quick switch up? Back to the shorty, but then shut down by Jesse Vash, the veteran, the experienced player, and he's still here to frag. Cruz, though, tries to fight back with the op, has to reload. I don't know if it's going to be good enough. Recon just makes him think about the other angle for just a second. Swapped over to the Vendel, a simple burst, closes things out. Jesse Vash's reactions, not quite enough up against Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz, a good read in that very last second. Expects the possibility of Jesse Fash trying to get ahead of that Cascade. He wins the 1v1, but that was a potential Jesse Fash moment there, the hero moments that we've come to know from the leader of the Filipino squad. Good shots from Governor, and the decision from Ban. The quick swap over for the operator over to Cruz, immediately ults, and then just comes out of it, goes for the shorty, and if he dies, he's still there for the trade. A great decision.
Definitely makes your opponents feel a lot of pressure, because you're not expecting him to come out of the Vessel Drift that quick.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that this team is very vocal, all individually. I've heard that they are always ready to speak their mind. They talk about it in their own videos as well, and that can always go two ways, right? I mean, you could really gel, but you could all really start to get in each other's ears, and the chemistry's not there, but so far, they are in sync. This new Talon roster.
Yeah, and look at these ideas too. Viper's Pit, Cruz hiding inside of it. It's a little bit risky given the Aldro now. He tries to back out of it, but still lands a shot onto Envy anyway.
But that's the problem, isn't it? It wasn't the Viper. The pit's still up. When oftentimes the Viper gets a little greedy, pushes out, you take them out, and then you think you're able to push through, but just another sentry there to get one kill. And Ban now in mid. I mean, look at Talon's movement. Neon's all the way out in A main. They have full control of this map. And the double as well.
Full control of the fights too. Pretty soon, Governor's going to come up from behind. Jesse Vash trying to do what he can. But how much is going to be enough? Oh, Governor's just going to let them up?
Yeah, I mean, didn't spot him. And the thing is Team Secret also doesn't know that this would have been the Neon pushing all the way out, but now they say we don't really have a choice. Yup.
There we go.
Spotted him as well.
Now it's a 3-on-1. Jesse Vash might be able to get the spike plant, but that's about it.
So he needs to hide from the operator. Needs to get the plant.
Oh, it's because it's Neon too.
Yeah, he's trying to get the first pick. He's crouching down, but it's not enough.
Look, because he was watching the angle towards the entrance of Cave. He had no idea that Governor was already onto the other side. The high gear sprint just kind of throws off the timing for a second. So 8-1. Talon has not dropped a single round since round 4.
An incredible streak from Talon Esports. Now, some Talon fans, you know, this might be a little deja vu from last year where they also had a great showing at lock-in, and we had high hopes, but I would say...
insane!
I mean, yeah, you are insane. I agree. I mean, these guys are looking so sharp in their aim, their decision-making. 18-2-5. The number just keeps going up for Governor.
Man,
I mean, the buck just doesn't stop.
It just keeps bucking. I gotta really think about what this could mean for the future, because you know, in their group they might have to play against DRX, and still they're now suddenly dropping thanks to the pacing from Team Secret. Borkum going up on the aggressive. Jeremy trying to go up front, shut down by Cruz thanks to the recon, but then Envy on the trade. Numbers advantage has been gained.
Secret finally answers back at the same pace, right? They say, okay, we'll drive it up to 11 as well. And this time it pays off. Jeremy not getting picked off right on the entry. He's able to jiggle out and gets the first pick in return. And that's a good answer. Maybe a little late, but if they can chain that into 4, still a solid shot on Breeze.
Just getting an idea for Talon's game plan again. I mean, because some previous rounds, especially the first part of the map, they started to go really aggressive. Now they start to slow down a little bit. And Team Secret sees that as an opening, and it works.
Of course, we've got viewing parties from all around.
That's a lot of people.
Yes, that was a lot of people. And hopefully, of course, the teams are able to deliver on their expectations. But Secret, so far, a shaky start, but they are on the attacking side. Again, 4 rounds, I don't think that's too bad. They have the Cypher on the defense.
Of course, always very useful, especially up against players like Governor and Ban. But right now, Talon switching things up a little bit. We've still got that op on both sides.
Yeah, and Secret also used an early drone to see.
Oh, that's big info.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know at least a position of 1. So you know how to just target that guy. Oh, man, nice try, Jeremy.
And all of a sudden, Lenny tucks away. Just jiggling for info outside mid, but here comes Ban to do that job instead. Lenny is relieved to go in for the Hunter's Fury in towards B instead.
Still many people in sight though. Backup's all here.
Ban just trying to hold the off angle. I thought Lenny would have gone for the counter on his Fury, but just as good. Plays for the recon instead. Wait for his teammates to arrive on the scene. Cruz getting a bit of a trade, and then comes Governor. Numbers game prevails, and Talon continues to win.
I mean, the backup's just way too quick. And of course, I think, honestly, Lenny's had some incredible info gathering on the side of Talon. That previous round as well. And this one, he gets some solid pings onto Envy. And Envy tries to pop flash around. He's still tagged, gets shot through the smoke. Backup already there. Governor wrapping all the way around the back of sight. Talon's comms are good. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But all the concerns that I personally had about how does this team gonna gel in the very beginning of the year, they've thrown that right on the bin.
It's looking really good, and if they can secure this first half 10-2, that would be even better.
Jeremy's alone, the reckoning.
But here comes Team Secret. Oh my god, even alone. I mean, Borkum NTG all the way from B main. They managed to gun down so many of these players. Going up fast is just what Talon did not expect, and all of a sudden it's down to Governor. Only an op, maybe a bit of utility, but no ultimate.
The way he's playing today, I say you hold your breath.
Okay.
Good reposition for Jesse. His back is covered by Jeremy as well.
Trying to bait out Peaks with that fast lane. He doesn't have that much time, maybe like 25 seconds left. If he wants to wrap back around to B main, that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, it's just too many with the op, but we'll see what he can do. Jeremy shuts it down.
Jump peak, that feels old. But here we go, 9-3. Still a good half nonetheless, but great recovery from Team Secret towards the end.
Talon, we talked about the positives they've shown, and Team Secret, I think a big part of it is that they weren't quite sure of how to deal with Governor being so hot right off the rip. I mean, obviously in the pistol, it's just a kill through the smoke, and another time it was another kill through the smoke on A main, getting these first kills, and then the fast rotates from both the Neon and the Yoru. It seemed like they just didn't have quite an answer for that. The couple times they went for the execute, I mean, we saw it in the last round as well, but what I will say is that last round, the Reckoning comes out, and they recognize, if we don't just pile through right now, Jeremy's dead. He's on an island, in the site, all on his own, so they go in and they say, forget getting worried about getting stunned. If we kill and move forward, we won't be in the same position for the Reckoning, so let's just plow through. And that gets them that so precious third round win.
Yeah, just trying to adapt to it, because in the past, if Jeremy just dives in alone, that's the entire plan failed. And you can definitely see that there are some issues that they're trying to figure out. How Talon plays, especially now that they're going to swap over onto the attack. Warbirds looks serious.
See if Governor can do the same thing on attack. 19-4-5.
I mean, I think attack is where the Neon fast lane can provide that much more value. And on top of that, you've got Cruz, you've got Jit Boys, 2 more walls to work with. So again, Governor has been our MVP for this entire match. Ben a close second, everyone else following up on it. And you're just wondering how much more they can do if they are to close out this map.
Game Crash out there ready to join his teammates. Takes out the cam, and that's what the Euro can do, right? You can really start to toy with the Cypher setups, usually on the B side. Put the pressure. That draws out at least one more member, right? Cypher not as safe, can't get as much info without either one trip, one spy cam, things like that.
I like Jeremy's position, though. Just watching in case anyone does peek out, or if he wants to try to find Van. A little bit faster, and then Ben rendezvous with his team. Setting up for that A execute now. They think they've managed to buy enough time away from B site. If they can pinch down onto Envy, that would be great. But look at Envy, 180-degree flick, and he gets Governor 2 kills. A bit of a trade, and then Jesse finds one more. Borkum, however, feeling the pressure, has to back off, tries to find a better position. Close range duel with the Classic, tries to right-click. But you know what? It doesn't even matter because only Lenny is left. And with the IGL not able to frag out, it's going to be Team Secret picking up the pistol in the second half.
These are the clips we remember from 23, Envy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the 180 headshot as well. Lets the Neon pass. Then walks out on a timing through, just guards that fast lane. Good mind games around the Neon.
So controlled. I mean, like, oh yeah, throw all your utility. I mean, I'm not bothered by it whatsoever. Nice! Jesse finding shots too all the way from the back of bridge. That's what you need from Team Secret. Now they've got the Outlaw at the hands of Jeremy, and they can definitely dish out more damage.
Yeah, that's one of the big questions a lot of us had is Jeremy, he has to now play primary duelist, he has to play primary offer, and of course the Outlaw and things like that. See if it comes to fruition, but not on the A side just yet. We'll have to give up the plan. Oh, sees him!
Snake bite, stinger combo, spike dropped, and the rest of Talon scrambling for safety. Playing around the toxic screens too, though, it just gives up a lot more space, and with some blind shots being fired through, Jeremy finds one. Borkum not able to do all too much, but it's just a setup for Jeremy to find a little bit more. Envy coming up from behind too, and that's Talon just burned to a crisp.
I'm telling you, it's far from over. Obviously, they're able to carry over the four weapons that they did purchase into the bonus. Now, not all the greatest, but you got to remember, again, this is a different comp. They've got the Cypher. They can really try to anchor around the site, work around the trips and the cyber cages, things like that on one side. Then you've got the Outlaw potentially on the other. A bit of a mishap there with the spike showing through, of course, the smoke. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it would have made a grand difference in the scheme of things.
Yeah, it just came down to the buy still, and Team Secret knowing how to play so far back. The onus is on Talon to really push up, and it's a little bit more difficult for them to do so given the current weaponry. But now, on to the next round. Team Secret's got to watch out. Talon's got to watch out for Jeremy still.
Aggressive push out from mid. He's just going to try to stick around. No contact.
Ooh. Okay, good recon from Jesse Vash as well.
Yeah, but this, I mean, Jesse Vash simply trying to let them know, like, if you want to come into B, you're going to have to use a lot more utility. And if they're not able to find the Cypher utility off of that, obviously it gets a lot tough. So Jesse Vash with a great read that this is going to funnel them into A. It's a bit of a gamble, but one that might pay off.
Yeah, it's going to cost you. If not, we're just going for that 4-on-5 retake. But we're also banking on the fact that NDG can anchor. That's something that Asterai said.
Envy holding close as well. Oh, no!
Wow.
Doesn't look like the first shot quite connecting. Not able to finish the kill, but the Spectre's here. The decoy!
Still manages to burn down Ban. But just trying to go full auto with all of these weapons, it's not quite enough. The close range duels, somehow Talon losing out in terms of numbers advantage. Still though, trying to go back to a little bit more safety. Lenny just holds out and swaps over to the high angle, gets down Jeremy. Wow, through the toxic screen though. Jesse Vash with the Sheriff still able to fire off shots.
Yeah, caught one glimpse of a Spectre, not the weapon you would want in a situation like this, but already damage done. One more kill and even the entire round possible, but no, Cruz watching from double doors will barely save the round for Talon, carrying over 2 rifles.
You can anchor, but can you clutch? With a Spectre, it's just that much more difficult, so it is what it is, but Team Secret managed to put up a bit of a fight. Talon, on the other hand, though, still, I think Lenny getting those 2 kills, Ban as well, I mean, pushing up front. Just fighting with all that force. And you can hear those communications again. It keeps the team alive, it keeps spirits up. And look at this, Governor up to 20 kills now.
Slow creeping up, not as quickly as we saw in the very beginning of the map, but obviously a lot more for him to do on the attacking side. A bit of a mishap on the flash there as well.
He tried to make the movement work though, but Borkum just managing to react that quickly. Another shot coming in from Jeremy as well, and all of a sudden Talon has to reconsider this entire round.
No, they'll spot at least one on halls, so Jesse Vash, no reason to greed this. You have control of double doors, you have control of the site. You can keep them trapped in the halls, it's not the worst scenario.
Yeah, if anything, Jit Boys has to, I don't know, like, either lurk or push up front. They're thinking about making use of the shoots into mid. That's not quite gonna happen.
Oh, I don't mind this. The shock dart, right? You already showed one person up in halls. You send the shock dart to let them know that we're still thinking about taking over the space. And you just say, if we can keep that occupied, we should have a shot, but no, it's going to be a save. I mean, they don't have any
30
explosive
seconds
entry
left.
into the site, and of course the Cypher most likely anchoring on B.
Yeah, 30 seconds. And look at the setup on B too. I don't think B is a site that they've explored all too much, so there are some unknown variables. They don't know exactly where these trips might be or where the cam is.
10 seconds left.
So there's really a lot to consider, because remember a couple rounds ago we saw Jesse Vash just playing up around tunnel, around elbow a little bit. So they're still thinking that Team Secret setup might be 2 on B, 3 on A. So we don't want to toy with that too much, at least for this round.
Yeah, and you don't have the KO either, right? No way to just shut down that utility. So you have to really use everything you got, start to scout it out. And as you mentioned, haven't spent too many rounds figuring out NDG's preferred default setups. But if anyone's going to do it, it's got to be ban on that Yoru. Got it during the pistol round.
Yeah, if not Ben, it's got to be Lenny with the shock darts. Again, information first. So back to the drawing board for Talon now as Team Secret starts to catch up. Jesse Vash kind of catching up in terms of kills too.
Oh, very aggressive shark dart into elbow. And Jesse's making the same call again, right? Just let them know that we are looking at elbow a bit heavy, and then let's try to reposition ourselves, shift the weight a little bit. But I think he correctly recognized the situation here. No solid info that they're working off of, so just a 2-1-2 default.
Swapped over with Jeremy too. NDG good to anchor, just as Asarai said.
Crash.
Past the cyber cage, but now suddenly pushing into it, punished by Cruz. Gate crash allows Ben to sneak and infiltrate onto site, just as you mentioned, Will. And apart from that, look at what's happening on the map. He gets out. Jit Boys still holding up around elbow in case anyone crosses over from mid. Cruz, as long as he stays alive up over by pillar, he uses his utility. He's still got the Reckoning available. There's so much that Talon has invested into this round.
Oh, no.
Another shot. Jesse Vash out in the open. Borkum revealed by Ban. And that's Talon back into the game just where they left.
Envy had full utility ready to go, but Cruz just gets him right before he's able to set up the rest of his teammates. Obviously, the distance from each other, not exactly the ideal, but this gate crash was brilliant. Ban gate crashes into the site, so NDG has to wait, but then Cruz holds before pushing out of the cyber cage, as they know that he now has to pick and choose the 50-50 between the Yoru and the decoy. And then they just pinch onto him. During all that, Ban's able to still get the first kill on site as well. And now, because they have that successful B execute, I mean, Team Secret, they can't really rest on their laurels on any part of the map.
Yeah, just trying to change up everything now. NDG swapping up his setup onto its B side as well. Jeremy trying to explore mid a little bit, maybe pull off something cheeky. But again, this high tide just makes him question a lot. But guess what? Talon's actually corralled up towards B instead. Just watching elbow.
A good read, you have to imagine, on what the potential is from Team Secret, right? Because they just pressured B successfully as well. Talon's read is that Team Secret has to push out to get info.
Apart from that too, I mean, that's what they're playing off of. Now they want to get their own info past enough time. Dimensional Drift does clear out a lot, so NDG has no choice but to relinquish the site.
Relay boats corralling him.
Ooh. Comboed with Ben and the Dimensional Crash. It gets out onto another one. Jesse Vash making a trade happen, so not impossible for Team Secret to come back.
Jeremy on the flank, but so is Lenny. Now this cuts the timer for Lenny
God.
quite short, but I don't think they're aware at all. So if Jit Boys can stay alive alongside Governor, this is huge.
Here
Gets
comes
one.
Lenny, all right. Managed to pull attention away. Envy turns back around. Toxic Screen back up, and Jit Boy still trying to keep things alive. Governor and Envy, though, suddenly pitched down. And with that, the spike available. They knew where Lenny was. They knew where he was about to show up. And Envy collects another round for Team Secret.
Team Secret immediately ups the tempo as soon as they recognize that Lenny gets the first kill on the flank. Instead of trying to say, well, one person watch for Lenny, and the rest of us will go in and go for 1v1, so they just say, well, he's still pretty far out. He would have to walk all the way up to Arches to be able to combat us and provide backup. So let's just push in and win these fights. And Jeremy's lurk, I mean, he catches sight alongside Cruz. They see each other in mid, and Jeremy just follows all the way. Good call.
So kind of just like forgetting for a second that although, yes, they might have been pushing out on defense, Team Secret, to get more info, they could also put themselves into deeper positions to lurk like what Jeremy did. And that gives them to that 7-11. Talon now calling their first timeout, trying to collect on those last 2 rounds.
Talon, they seem to have the number, especially in the first half, but the attacking side, I like the attempted hit onto B, that success that brought them their 11th round win. But not quite as much control around the map just yet. I mean, on defense, they were running amok. They held mid, they held pillar, they held both sides, they held A main. Sometimes they pushed out a B main, get that early pick.
Right here.
But on attack, I mean, first of all, not too many answers about pressuring mid, right? And this is allowing Team Secret to just say, all right, pressure one side, go back to 2-on-2 default, and then shift the weight over on a timer.
Oh, yeah. Haven't really gone through mid. Haven't really, played much around halls either. They did think about that halls play with that 3-on-5 round where they lost 2 players really early on.
Well, this is going to be finally the Yoru trying to shake up the utility from Cypher as Jeremy gets the first kill. And NDG was ready for this too. I mean, Ban got pinged by the cam, so he has to slow down. He can't just go in, wreck the setup, and then gate crash out.
That far out, he still gets a shot onto Lenny. So you just lost a little bit of info gathering. Now we're starting to creep up instead.
Well, 2-pronged attack. So they've always got a backup plan.
Okay, all the way up and through halls. Jesse Vash is right on the other end. Gets the information. Jeremy still staying tucked away and hidden.
So Talon seems to have heard and or seen Jesse Vash on the rotate back over to A. Now, the recon just comes out, so they're both stuck in their own position. But the real question is can they break into B? Because otherwise, Jeremy's just holding mid. And Talon doesn't have proof that Jeremy's here.
Oh.
Not even a guess, it looks like.
I thought they might have had an idea, but guess not.
Spike down.
And with that now, Team Secret very much in control over the map. Van trying to fight back, but not for long. 5 HP. His teammate and the spike dropped. The round is over. I guess he's going for that save. 15 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, only 5 HP, and your econ's
10
not
seconds
exactly
left.
even across the board. And we've been trading rounds back and forth, so not quite at the maximum loss streak bonus. Talon carrying 1 Vandal over, losing a lot of steam. And this one, it could have very well looked different had Lenny been alive, right? They could have pressured a lot more with the Sylvia utility, but now Jeremy seems a bit more warmed up, a bit more confident, digging deep to really cut up the forces from Talon Esports.
That's what we need to see them do, especially on this defensive side. If they can repeat that formula, it's going to be that much more difficult for Talon. NDG going back to the slightly different setup still, but heavily anchoring on the B side. The game plan has swapped back up to what we saw just a few rounds ago. A solo NDG on B.
Yeah, but this is a retake from Team Secret. And they get the ping onto pretty much everybody, if not literally everybody, on the side of Talon. So backups now arrived as well. I mean, Talon, yeah, you have to reset at the very least.
Yeah, retake setup too. Talon has to reconsider their options, but given the time passed, they never quite know who might be on the other side. And it's going to be Jeremy with an operator.
They suspect something.
1 pixel is all it takes. Shot hasn't been fired off. Oh, the movement from Governor. A sudden, he jumped over and carried the momentum through. Jeremy repeats though. Is that good? The cascade pushes him away, and Governor wants to pressure it. Oh, the Blade Storm. Right click, and then Lenny with the shorty. Ben is here to assist as well. So although Governor dies, it's enough space for Talon to potentially take the site. High Tide blocks off so much vision.
Spike gets planted. Post plant, not bad. You could even go for a rotate, even the pit to make sure. I mean, this is going up to match point for Talon.
Wow, and all they got to do is to protect the Viper right now, up around the edges of this Viper's pit.
I mean, Secret wants to attempt this so badly, but it just looks nigh impossible.
So many layers of safety. Cruz dies. We still got Jit Boys. We still got Ben and Lenny on the other side of Cave. So it's the call for Envy to save instead.
Yeah, looking at their creds, I don't mind that they attempted to go into the pit. I mean, you just don't want to give over map point. And you still had another flash drive, a 0 point. You know, you get the first cheeky pick. Sure, there's a world. There's a world where a story could be told, but not in that one. And Talon goes up to map point. Lost a lot of steam in the second half, but it was only a couple steps up to here.
Yeah, picked it up again. I mean, again, it might just also be Breeze on defense, and you know, you got to figure out those openings. And especially with Talon, I mean, Team Secret now starting to peek out a little bit more. They had to adapt. And adapt they did.
Yes, this should do.
Well, this is, it's actually giving me a bit of a nightmare flashback to when DRX just couldn't figure out how to attack on Breeze on an international stage. And a lot of it comes down to they keep tabs on the actual setup, and they're just trying to combat the setup itself. On a site, ban. Great opening kill, takes out the operator from the opposing side.
Don't just combat the setup, right? Combat the players.
Well, okay, sure, yes, combat the players as well. But what I'm trying to say is you want to work the map, right? If you're just saying, okay, well, they hide in this cubby, they have this strip, let's go in and break it and break it and break it, you still, at the end of the day, have to not only win the fights, but they make one micro adjustment, one change in timing, and it throws the entire thing off. Now, I would say Talon, a bit more flexibility here in the second half. Also, they didn't need to win as many rounds, but this time, Van's operator is the one who really shakes things up.
The decoy as well makes Borkum feel a little bit uneasy.
I'm out of here.
And then the fast lane, they think it's going to be an A hit, but look at where the spike's headed towards.
Yeah, the nail in the coffin pretty much. Now, a pretty early call from Team Secret. They recognize this as they don't hear any more footsteps, but whoa, Governor flying high off of the boxes.
No way.
1v5.
What a great debut on the Neon, and Jit poised to end it all as he hops around for his teammate to pick up the kill. 13-8. This first map goes to Talon.
A huge showing from Governor. Obviously, ex-teammates with Rossi from T1, 2 members coming over from Turtle Troop, from the challenger scene in North America. And they're here to say that talent is not lacking on the other side of the globe. A great debut for Governor, but it is a best of 3. I think a lot of us perhaps expected a bit more from Team Secret in terms of the mid-rounding, the adjustment, the synergy even, but just not able to do that.
Yeah, and I guess we're going to leave the rest for our analysts to pick up because, wow, what a match to break down.
Showing what they're made of on Breeze. Governor on the Outlaw. Absolutely insane. It was like that content piece he did with the Outlaw. He definitely is a Neon player as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's had plenty of experience on the Neon, but this was still a bit of a different flavor. Like we said, a bit of a mashup from the comps that we saw yesterday on Breeze. They come out here with that Neon alongside the Yoru, and I mean, it was Governor and Ban shining through, and this is really strong when you have 2 players that are also very well versed with that operator, which is snipers in general in their hands. We saw Ban picking up some kills there on the back end with that op. Just a very fearsome double duelist setup that Talon has right now.
Yeah, when you look at the compositions, right, from the start of this entire game, you, especially with Talon's comp, it's very specialized, and you immediately see the big win condition that Talon needs is a lot of contact, a lot of aggressive contact, and they were so good at that. And what TS needed to do was to try to counteract that when they were on the attacking side, which means that a lot of the pressure relied on Jeremy being able to find openings into the site. Unfortunately, you saw he was just dashing in, getting caught, getting punished by Governor, and then everyone else from Team Secret was just walking up, dying to or taking extra damage from the Viper utility, and then Governor's just there to say 3 kills for me, and then it just kind of happened over and over again until we ended like a 9-3 in the first half.
Yeah, just fairly brutal here. I mean, Team Secret, granted, this isn't a map that they're the most proficient on. Obviously, with Ascent coming up, it would be that, and then Haven, which is out of the pool. So I think there's still certainly an opportunity for them to rally back in this series. I don't think it's necessarily done yet, but I mean, if Governor is going to be playing like that, playing like this with the sniper coming into his hands, then Ascent is still a very scary prospect because you can very easily just flip over onto that Jet. Hell, you can even have Ban play the Jet and Governor play something else going into Ascent if it's not a double duelist setup. But if Talon continue to cook, if they continue to have some unique looks as far as their strategies are concerned on certain maps, maybe they have something different for Ascent as well.
Now, what kind of improvements do we want to see from Team Secret? Jeremy was on the jet there, but I think there were some critical moments that he missed. And what's it gonna take for Secret to step up going into Ascent?
The thing is, I think Secret before already had some really good entry setups, and that's why I think they were so feared, you know, when they had those good days back in 2023 for Pacific League. But this time it just feels like they're letting Jeremy do everything by himself. We don't see the follow-up, the kind of back and forth he has with Jesse Vash, no support utility from Borkum. It's just the standard setups that you kind of see with these kind of agent pickups, and that's not going to be enough against Talon. So they, at least in terms of improvement, they really need to have that support system for Jeremy. He can't just be alone when he's going to be having to go up against a possible double duelist in the form of Ban and Governor.
Yeah, I mean, also when he's going into these sites, I mean, we see 4 first kills, 4 first deaths for Jeremy. It's very much the same for Governor on the opposite side, but when you have that secondary, not initiator, but secondary duelist there in Ban, you're able to capitalize a lot more if Governor does go down, and more often than not, especially that first half, Governor was entering and no one was able to stop him at all. Jeremy, when he's getting traded, it's that trade back hasn't really been there in a lot of these rounds from Team Secret. We see him going out trying to get a line with an operator. He ends up getting picked off. But also just some of these shots that he absolutely should have when he's set up over there in A main, staring down over towards the defender spawn. Governor swings that corner. Jeremy should have that shot pretty much 100% of the time, but the whiff comes in. They manage to hound him down, and then they close out the map from there. It's just, we need to see those shots coming through. I mean, does Jeremy look improved when it comes down to the offing compared to what we've seen in the past? Yes, I would say that he has, but I don't think it's at that top level right now, and there are so many great offers in this league that you're going to have to contend with at some point.
I'm really liking this iteration of Talon, whatever it is. The crews also very different kind of energy this year. You watched him on the cam, on the player cam. He just looks cool as a cucumber throughout the entire match.
Very
He's
zen.
not overly, yes, very zen. Not overly, no overheating happening on, at least on his side. When they got like 6-7 consecutive in a row.
And that's what they kind of want from an IGL, right? You were talking about how in the green room, wow, it looks like they were overheating a little bit, you know, chasing the kills, both Ban and Governor. If they have somebody like Cruz to reel them back in, it's perfect for this Thai team roster.
Yeah, I mean, having sat down with these guys and talked to them extensively, like, they were so excited to finally just have their match, get out on stage. They wanted to debut their compositions to the world, you know, finally play against the other teams that are in this league, because again, everybody has been hiding strategies away from one another. No one within this tournament has been scrimming against each other, maybe barring a couple exceptions. But widely, they've been keeping everything locked away, just hiding it from the opponent's eyes. They wanted to put it out on display, and they finally have done that. And I think that did lead a lot towards them getting a bit overzealous, having a bit too much fun. Like we said, chasing in for those kills. There's a couple times where Governor was very clearly just trying to pad the stats, and he ended up cutting down his ACS a little bit there. But as long as Frost in this downtime, as they get ready to go into map 2, if you can rein them in a little bit more, if they have that kind of hot start, then I think that they're going to still be in a really strong position. For Team Secret, right now it's more about, okay, you had a slight warm-up in that second half. You started getting the gears shifting in the right direction. Can you carry that momentum forward going into your map pick of Ascent, start off hot like we saw from the side of Talon, and just take that early lead and run away with it and take us to map 3?
While, you know, we're saying that a lot of the teams have been hiding a lot of their game plan for the season this year, so we haven't seen a lot of that, especially Talon, especially the teams that have a lot of changes. But with Ascent and with Team Secret, we have a lot of data to go off of.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Team Secret has gotten probably their most successful games on the Ascent map, probably because every single time that they played it, it's always the same composition over and over again. It's the double initiator with the Sova and the KO, and so on and so forth. You get yourself the jet and everything. But, I mean, at this point, they might just have to think about, Talon might have a different approach in this one, kind of change the status quo, and Team Secret might not be aware of this. But what is going to be at least better right now, at least compared to Breeze, if I'm just, you know, hyper-analyzing a little bit, NDG and Envy, the two most recent pickups for Team Secret, weren't really given a chance to do anything on that first half because it feels like they had to always follow up on Jeremy, and they kind of get punished every single time. On the second half, when they were on defense, you saw that they had more chances to do so. Ascent as a map, whether it's attacking or defending, allows you to have those more individualistic plays. So I feel like they have a lot more opportunity now to influence the game compared to this first map, but still is to be seen.
I'm just curious, you know, as well for Secret, do they have something up their sleeve when it comes down to Ascent? Because there is plenty of tape of them on how they like to play this map. So either there needs to be a big compositional difference as far as what agents they're selecting, or a really big change in the pace, the setups that they have as they go to attack these sites. Because again, with Talon, you don't know what to expect with these 5 players because the slate has been wiped clean. For Team Secret, if it's mostly just going to be, okay, we're going for Ascent because historically we've been very good at this, then Talon can be the ones who are hyper-analyzing. They can sit down and just really review how you've played this across the last several years and then break it down and really find your weaknesses.
That's right, and on top of that, the coaches from both sides, it's been made very clear how well they know each other, and they are definitely trying to, you know, break down each other's mental and get into the mind games of what they may or may not do, and that is definitely a lot of fun between Frost and Warbirds.
And again, it just puts that much more pressure on Warbirds because he is the one that's working with a much more known quantity here. So he has a lot more onus on him that he has to try to really reinvent this team as far as what they're going to be doing. And we'll go ahead and take a look. And, well, look at that. It's good old Ascent.
They do not change the status quo. So it's going to be about how the approach will be. I will say this, though, at least looking back at Jeremy's performance, not the entry fragging anymore, his lurking on the second half, he was actually pretty successful at creating those 1v1 duels that favor him. So maybe he was able to isolate a couple of fights, or he builds up on that confidence of his, make it into multi-kills, you know, following the footsteps of Governor. That really is something that is going to be so beneficial here for Team Secret, because again, it really just goes back on having to have a very reliable duelist. And Jeremy, even though he's gotten top frag for Team Secret, it wasn't the top frag that they were kind of hoping for that will get them that game.
Yeah, I mean, in comparison, just that impact wasn't quite there as much as it was for Talon.
All right, let's go into our second map of Ascent. We got Team Secret versus Talon. Are we going to go to a map 3, or does it stop here on Ascent?
I guess that is the question, right? Chubby Ninja asked, right? Achilles. I mean, it's going to be Ascent. We've seen this so many times. It's the exact same composition for both sides. What do we think, Will?
Well, there was a part of me that hoped. You know, we saw the Neon and Yoru on Breeze, and I saw, all right, Talon's cooking. And they said, even Ascent can't be cooked anymore. It is perfect. We got to just let the steak rest forever, as it is just the same old composition. But, I mean, even whether it's the shots, the confidence, maybe even the comms, the backup, I mean, everything Talon looked better in map 1. Now TS back in comfort zone. Isn't enough to change it up. Waiting for a mid push out. I mean, you know, these days Ascent is really just kind of this rock, paper, scissors among teams, right? Everyone knows each other's plays books. Everyone's reading from each other.
Well,
GG.
Might not know too much about what Talon might do, though. Pushing out the B main that way. Not quite finding the shots, now re-peeking into it. Governor still with that Sheriff trying to make it work.
Man.
Managing to take down NDG now.
NDG just wanted one piece of the action. He can't land enough shots to get the assist there, and Jeremy just cleans it up, but not quite safe in the site. Chip boys.
Spike down A.
That's a good enough pickup that it gives them numbers advantage, even though Governor is pretty low. Spike play goes down, and at this point, just a clean retake is all it needs.
Oh, the turret. Just doing a little extra chip damage. Everything counts here in a pistol round.
Oh, no.
Last player.
Oh, the ping!
Sported out.
Yeah. He was ready for it. He was crouched. Can't find the headshot either. Oof. Listen, I mean, I was one of those people that was hoping that Germany would come in this year and fire right off the bat because, I mean, he kind of needs to for himself. He needs to find that confidence on the stage. We've seen peak moments from the young player on Team Secret. But the operator looked a little rough and shaky on Breeze and not finding it just yet in the pistol, but still many rounds to go on Ascent.
Yeah, Lenny jumping back into heaven was definitely throwing him off a little bit. Now we've got the setups from Talon, though, and it makes you wonder, are they going to push out again?
With these weapons, surely not. Although maybe inching forward on main, they do have the Ares, they have the Paranoia, lots of setup.
Governor. Paranoia to support.
Okay, seems like Talon did have a discussion about greeting and overheating for stats. Obviously just a second round. Need for a skill. Backed up. And they know that there's still members here. Talon has no reason to give the entire area for free, and even if they do, turret and nanoswarms there to just chip away at every member.
And at the same time, just wanting to make sure they don't give away too many weapons. Gen Boys, there we go, nanoswarms available. However, the 0 point does connect.
Yeah, and they were also all pretty much through, right? A little bit of scratches here and there. Actually, Envy taking a bit more than I thought he would have. The smoke gives it away, but at least they get the spike plant.
So it's a good enough win for Team Secret. Now, can Talon make this a flawless win? Surely not quick enough. The rest of them trying to wallbang through. We do have an Ares, so might as well try to make it happen. But here comes NDG. A good shot from the back of Boathouse, but Governor is just that much sharper as well. Okay, Ben with the Guardian, and then Lenny with a Ghost. Why not? 4 out of 5 weapons saved. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Good shots from Governor. He's continuing to put up highlights for Talon, putting them back on the board, putting them back in discussion for VCT Pacific. We'll see if he can continue. You know, the desk talked about a little bit of overheating towards the end, trying to pad those stats. But, I mean, with these kind of performances, as long as it ends on a happy note, I don't know if you can blame him too much. At least for today, he's riding that momentum. And this is a player that came in and just started confidently talking before even playing one official in Pacific, right? Said he thinks he can fight everybody here. He's been very outspoken in all of their videos so far, building up to kickoff. And now he's here to back up the talk.
He's got that confidence. 5 kills already in round 2. 1 point away from the Blade Storm. Not much of the same can be said for, unfortunately, oh dear Jeremy, just for the time being. They are trying to attack though, so we'll give them that. But Governor continues to wreak havoc outside of B main. NDG was not expecting that. Team Secret needs to find another option into a site.
It's going to be a smoke to try to block off main, but they do know that it should be a split here.
Ooh, okay, Jeremy got the movement. Tries to bypass the space. It does allow them into the site, although the wall banks from Lenny are just firing off. At the very least, we've got the site now.
I wonder if it's going to be at least one person going for the long wraparound. Doesn't look like it, so just a two-way retake coming in through tree.
Well, Vash might be the one wrapping around instead. Has to make it quick enough, though. The rest of the team got to stay alive enough. But here comes Governor. Blade Storm available. He goes up at the ready.
Oh, man.
3rd kill under his belt. Now he's looking for the last. Doesn't quite get onto Jesse Vash, but it's enough for Ben to stick the spike. Gets up almost at the half, but just not quite secure enough to take down Jesse Vash.
Round 3 is not the round you want to overheat on for kills. I mean, listen, quite frankly, he was definitely feeling the momentum. His movement was good onto the retake. And if he did get the kill, it would have been the thumbnail of the highlight for this match for sure if they end up winning the entire thing. But it gives just enough room for Jesse Vash. And this is why Team Secret was always getting so close last year. Even if they had a rough match, even if they have rough rounds, they have these players who are able to just kind of calm things down and stop the bleeding, buy them enough time to regroup. That is the threat for Team Secret. And it might not seem like much, but it is just enough.
Yeah, they've played enough games to know, like, take flight. Calm down, it's all good. I can still bring things back. And now with that 2-1 score, we're looking to turn it to a 2-2, hopefully. Lenny has an Odin, though.
Yeah, very desperate, too, because while, yeah, it was a clutch, that's not what you want to see on the 3rd round on your bye round.
Quick, simple execute. Paranoia out as well. Crew's trying to hold things back. A little bit off on the Shrouded Step play, but still able to cut him down regardless. Jesse Vash with Hunter's Fury in as well. Now the rest of them with that Odin almost trying to connect, but Envy manages to stay alive. Now options available are just heaven. Not quite so much door, but they have no idea that NDG is right around that spot.
I mean, with the type of util they have available, yeah, I'm not surprised it's safe. Sure, you got the recon on the drone, but
fair enough.
Yeah, you would need to use it a bit further back if you don't want to get spammed out, as Lenny's pretty low. And then you would have needed to jump right on it. No flashes as well. No information on tree, like you mentioned. And NDG was there, so good positioning by NDG. Very quick on that backup, should the retake have come through. Secret looking a bit more alive on one of their favorite maps from 2023.
I mean, when it's that much rehearsed, the executes are fast, they're decisive, they're impactful. Meanwhile, for Talon, it does feel as though some of this carries over from the previous map on Breeze. When the pace gets switched up against them, and when it's a rush coming out from Team Secret, they can't really hold it down all too well sometimes.
Yeah, and this is actually why Team Secret had such a good win rate, right? If you think back, this was another team that used to just say, okay, once we figure out where they're weaker, we just keep going.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Don't fix what's not broke. The same thing happened on Haven, of course, a couple of times, especially against teams like DRX.
Yeah.
Happened on Ascent. And they just know that if you're going to still go for defaults, we will always have the numbers advantage. Let's see if that continues to be the trend today.
Right here.
I mean, again, we keep talking about one of the teams that made the least changes coming into 2024. So you imagine the calling, the philosophy, the speed, everything should be similar.
Well, they are switching up the pace just for now.
A good round to take some mid control, put some pressure, see if you can get sight of those alarm bots. Not going to dig deep enough, but he has no idea that there's so many members wrapping all the way around him. From short, they don't peek out all the way.
Still trying to find that opening pick, though. Just trying to push through a little bit, but then smoked off immediately by Cruz. Talon controlling the map for the time being.
I mean, great save. Oh, I was going to say earlier from Jesse Vash to keep Jeremy alive, but Governor will find a kill nonetheless, this time on main.
Take flight.
And with that now, just might be able to prevent Team Secret from smoking things off. Lenny, sensing that the hit is headed towards B, sends out the recon.
30 seconds left.
And then everyone's ready to fire and let it rip. Jit Boys, triple kill back-to-back. Governor getting the last one onto Jeremy. Everything lines up for Talon.
Great hold, the recon at an angle where you'd have to get pinged to clear it out. And then you have someone still holding close, a bit of an off angle with that Vandal, not holding close to the wall, not holding far out with an Odin. Try to go for a peek, but good reset after the first kill for Jit Boys. And he was one of the members that we all thought last year showed so much consistency, so much just good value for talent to build upon. It's great to see him return in form.
Get out of my way.
Especially on this Sentinel role. On this map, too, he had some great moments. Still, though, Team Secret very much in the game. Jeremy with the Blade Storm. Let's see if he can make some magic work. They're headed towards A with another A split, setting up for that execute.
Spots one. Oh, didn't see him on the minimap, so his teammates get the trade, but get stuck on the door.
A little bit unfortunate, but here comes the Shrouded Step. The decoy play for Envy to peek out, but it's just a trade. 3-on-3 now, and although there is space for Team Secret, it's still a little bit risky to get the spike down. Okay, they managed to make it happen. No wall banks just yet. We also have NDG just kind of lurking around mid, so that's the idea now.
NDG is the big one. The timing is going to be so crucial because Jitboy suspects it, but NDG just needs to be patient. His teammates are still alive. He doesn't need to be the one that gets first contact. Oh, no.
Peeked out a little bit too early. Now, Envy might have some utility, but he's just pinched down. Recon in, has to make his shots ring true, but Lenny just sprays it down with an Odin.
Thanks.
And that's Talon with the 4th win.
I mean, I held my breath on that one. Envy's had some nutty highlights last year. So there was a possibility, but it's always, those are things that look like miracles. And so far, Talon still looking like the team that's just put together a bit more, which is the crazy part. An entirely new roster, right? Only 2 members, so not exactly a core moving on from last year.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of performances from Governor, and now a little bit more from Jit Boys. I'm telling you, don't doubt Lenny. Now he's got this Odin. There was no way that Envy could have made it out of that one, especially if Lenny's just spraying as he falls down. On to the next round, though. Again, Talon switching out their positions. A little bit more than stack on A, but reading things wrong. It's going to be Team Secret that's enabled into B.
Yeah, well, of course, the null command on the other side, and they have their own lockdown. So this is a read for read.
Retake.
Yeah, now their own null command coming out first. I like it. Denies the potential response from Envy.
Have a smoke. Yeah, there it is for B main. Governor gets an opening shot. 2 players isolated on the other side, and it allows for Governor to swing up on towards B. And then Cruz just to decimate anyone hiding inside of B main. Talon makes it a quick round, a flawless round, and a retake.
I mean, forget the frags itself. Lenny's calling has been very solid on the defensive side of both maps. I mean, this one, it's one of those very standard things just because Ascent is such a known value now across the entire world, but you keep tabs on the ultimates, right? You keep tabs on what the ping pong has been across the sites, and you say, MTB site, we've got more tools to go for retakes. Now, obviously, if Envy had used null command to start with, it's even more value that they get out of it. But since they don't, they immediately pop their null command first a little bit early to deny that response, so they're able to go in a bit stronger on the retake.
And that's what they needed, especially with that pacing coming through. As soon as they secure a strong lead, that's great.
And this time it's an A empty as well, because that null command is still available. They're just letting this happen. They still have the lockdown for the retake on A. I mean, Lenny is reading Team Secret's habits.
Great anticipation. Null command doesn't connect onto anything, and as soon as that timer runs out, Talon's got the site surrounded. You've got the lockdown. You've got the Hunter's Fury. How does Team Secret respond to this?
If he gets this, oh no, it's so clean. He finds one more as well. Does get traded.
And even with the one-way, it just enables for Governor to find a little bit more, jumps back out, another shot through. Jeremy tries to spray transfer over, but is pressured into shooting down this lockdown instead. Lenny goes in for the chase, and it's Governor with the short hit that gets it instead. NDG all the way from A main, can't find the angles.
You know, it does seem like at times that NDG isn't quite able to get a hold of himself. You know, it looks like it's just a bit too chaotic. It's just a bit things moving too fast. A little overwhelming, perhaps. Obviously, a big debut stage for him. Coming up onto a big LAN stage against VCT teams here in Pacific. But we're not seeing moments that live up to the hype and expectation a lot of people had.
Not quite enough. I mean, we've seen him able to anchor, but not quite so much with the clutches, and especially with Talon now retaking sites. The post plants, it's a little bit shaky, and with the score 6-2 right now, if Team Secret doesn't fix things, this match could be over.
Sure. I mean, yes, again, Ascent, etc., defensive half, but the way things are looking now, it looks like they're well on their way to at least another 9-3 half, which is what they had on Breeze. Starting on that defense. The calls from Lenny are good. Good reads on to Jesse Vash and Team Secret. I mean, what a way to prove a point for Lenny. Sitting behind this 5-man roster all year last year, only getting one chance, and not exactly a fair one, when he had to play the one map against DRX.
Yeah, he's finally getting his chance. I mean, round 7 and 8 says so much. But of course, now off the timeout, what does Team Secret have in store for us?
Well, first of all, they got to quiet down Governor once again, 14-2-1. Still with the op on that jet.
Okay, oh, Lenny. Oh, Lenny. IGL for IGL.
Yeah, and that spam, it just comes up every so often enough that you almost forget about it, right? The B main one is there every day, all day, but the one in mid, like everyone knows it can be done, but it just doesn't happen every round.
It's another read, though, because he knew there was going to be that Aldro being committed. As soon as he saw it fly up, he went in for that spray, but here comes NDG now, trying to open things up against Governor. So Starduel is gone, Jit Boys with a bit of a trade. And we're back to a 3-on-3. Space created, and all of a sudden it's a mid to A adaptation from Team Secret. Can Cruz play against this? Ben just peeks out. Cruz holds his ground, and all that's left is going to be Envy on a 1-on-3.
He has time. He wants to make these 1v1s.
Oh,
the best option he's had.
40 seconds. Oh. Crouch spray commitment from Ben, and he's just tagged up.
I want to see that swivel from Ban, because it just looked like Jeremy was going to have the kill if Ban didn't peek out with a pre-fire. Not sure if we'll get a chance to see it, but Ban, he's He's been free. Another, and this time it is on the KO, right? So it's not necessarily about putting him on the Jet. Last year, it was only on the Jet that he looked confident. But something about the comms, the chemistry on this team, we got to remember, Governor says he was the one who suggested and fought for Ban to be brought on board to this new roster of Talon Esports. And it's paying off.
There's that bit of a duo, and it certainly works out well. Apart from that, I mean, just...
No.
No! The game plan from Team Secret instantly shut down, but Jeremy has, okay, a little bit to say, but not all too much. 3 on 4, Spike getting planted, but retakes are underway.
You know, not to say anything about necessarily the cleanliness or whether you overheat or not, but the style that Governor is playing, he is playing like a world-class duelist. He's playing as if he just simply cannot lose fights.
Yeah, actually really mechanically insane. I mean, there's so much that he's doing, jumping around, updrafting.
And the interesting part is the team backs him up. I mean, if they didn't, a lot of these rounds would actually end up looking like overheats. There are rounds where he is going to drop a weapon. There are rounds where maybe the updraft is a little too eager, but the trades are there that either keep him alive or even if he dies, it's a very clean win for the team. And the pacing that Talon has right now is exactly what a player like Governor would want. If he wants to go in and take every fight, assume that he's going to win, he wants backup to be there immediately, and it is every time on the defensive side for Talon.
The follow through, the relays, and now, you know, he's up 17-3.
I mean, Team Secret would want nothing more than to make this a 4-8 half.
Changing angles as well now, down towards mid. We do have Team Secret players trying to creep up on Catwalk. Governor has a very good chance at spotting all of them.
Wow, no one was watching mid, by the way, so keep notes on that.
Okay.
Work him. No.
Getting
That's
hit
smoke down.
Lenny. And that's another thing about Lenny is Sova. Punisher always good for a couple of kills. Jeremy sees it and wants to push the pressure. Odin will put up a bit of a roadblock though as the sprays cut Envy in half. Make that
4
a 4
kills! Lenny! The quick swivel onto Jeremy. I thought Jeremy was going to have a timing there, jumping up amidst all that noise. But Lenny...
This is, I'm telling you, this is that Lenny that I saw from Bleed Esports like 2 years ago.
Well, I'm glad someone's keeping that memory because it's coming back. I mean, the Hunter's Fury, great. Part of it, Borkum kind of hoping that he wasn't spotted because of the first shot missed. But then Lenny, the fact that he's keeping the focus as well on how to hold his own angles and the timings, the possibilities while he's IGLing on this new roster of an entire new mix.
So that was all they needed. And also not changing up all too much. The game plan still sounds, still good. Odin sprays through. Governor just a bit of a peek, and it takes down NDG. Here comes Jeremy, though. Bladestorm at the ready. And he's looking to get to work.
Just one more round. 3-9. Hope for the curse.
When he says enough is enough, I want that 9-3. But Governor, what?
I'm telling you, Governor doesn't think there's a single person that can stop him in the server.
He's overflowing with confidence right now, and he's supported by Ben of all things right now.
Player standing.
A bit of a bait, a bit of a trade.
He's expecting it. Oh man, Jesse Vash quick on the trigger, but Ban a good read on the situation.
Switching sides.
I mean, count on Jesse Vash to bring home the few rounds that they've had. Stabilizing at 3-9. The attacking side, I mean, listen, it was the same story on Breeze. A bit lacking. And on Ascent, it's even tougher because, again, the playbook is just so textbook across the entire world that if you're bringing out this composition, everyone knows the options. It's just a matter of a chess game and the flowchart of who stays one step ahead. And today, it was not Secret, both in terms of the decisions they made, but the speed of it as well.
Yeah, Secret are definitely catching up to a lot of things. At times when they switch up the pace, they might be able to sneak away a round or two, especially when Jesse Vash is there to clutch things out. But if not for that, it definitely looks like, you know, we've got Governor fragging out, we've got Lenny reading them and staying one step ahead in that chess game, like you mentioned, Will.
Okay, the pistol round once again, ever so important. Frost speaking his mind, wants to
Dude, the
close things
contrast.
out. I know.
Warbirds, it doesn't say anything.
Well, he also just seems like he's just racking his brain as well. I think part of it is, I think even the execution of what they have been doing hasn't exactly been the cleanest, right? And then the shots as well. And listen, if the players aren't hitting the shots that they normally would, what do you say at that point? I mean, I guess if you're head coach Solo at Gen G, you actually do tell them to just pick up their guns and hit their shots. And, or if you're Alex of Paper X, right? It works for some teams, but yeah.
Morale boost, you know, is something that's needed sometimes.
I mean, that depends on, you know, player to player, personality to personality, but that is part of it. Team Secret, they need to hit their first shots a bit more often.
So the form just feels a little bit off today, but as we swap sides, maybe finding a bit more success on the defense. Then again, we don't quite know Talon's game plan as they switch things up. Governor just trying to go quick up against Jeremy. Doesn't quite work out, but here comes Ben. There is that follow-up. You always talk about it, Will, and here it is.
I thought Jeremy's backup was quick enough. I thought that was going to catch Talon off guard. But after the one kill, Ben swings on the trade, and then there's Shadow Step. Jesse Vash.
Last player standing.
Well, good shock dart and a ghost kill to follow up, but not quite enough. Half HP though.
Spike planted.
He might be spotted. He might be vulnerable, but he might be able to find some shots.
The turret's there. He's waiting, but there's no reason for them to peek.
Ooh, this is odd. I was gonna say not impossible, but yeah.
Good post plant from those two. That was honestly, it's a 2v1. You spotted him once. That was a round where they could have suddenly gone for the double swing, and they probably would have won it either way, but they still wait until one more peek. They go for another jump because the turret wasn't broken. This is how you know that it's not just the hype and momentum that they're riding off of. The comms are there for Talon, and I mean, color me impressed, because I did not expect this. At least not in the first match of kickoff. I thought they were going to look shaky. I thought we were going to see like bits and pieces that they were trying to put together. But here's the whole entire pizza.
Especially with that turret play too. Off to the next round now. We've got some guns. Not just some guns, a lot of guns. Thanks to the kills that they've gotten before. Team Secret with the Sheriffs though, you never quite want to count them out fully.
I mean, they didn't get the turret either.
Okay.
This goes from bad to worse, honestly.
Very clear hit towards B. The spike's not there, though. It's not a full commit. Nobody's quite pushing out of A main, so Cruz decides to make a move. Talon decides to pull back.
And he's pushing up very aggressively with an outlaw.
Well, close range is still, it still works. No armor, one shot, one kill. And then suddenly committing into B. Oh my goodness, Team Secret did not expect this whatsoever. And then the other boom shot onto Borkum. We're past double digits now.
Lenny's IGLing looks very good. The thing is what we're seeing is he seems to have enough ideas in his head that he can make the split-second calls. Well, it looks like he was actually just looking into his notes right there as well, right next to him. Trying to keep tabs or maybe reminding himself of what they want to do next, what the game plan was coming into today's match. But, I mean, that call, you dig deep. If I get the kill, just go for B. Like you said, not something Secret expected because everything was quiet. Audio was cut on B main. It's small things like that, but the speed at which they're able to do it shows the practice and the calls from the IGL of Talon.
The entire team's cohesion as well now. They're looking for that match points. Just switching things up in terms of pace. Governor wants to go ham. Going for the Phantom, going for the movement. A double kill in beta trade. But then the rest of the team has already made their way onto site. It's a 2-on-2 and not impossible for Talon to pick up this bonus and match point.
Secret has to go for this, but Jeremy is so low, 10 HP. The shock dart, the outlaw, everything is gonna have so much value.
Oh, the outlaw. It's way too low, and that's gonna be it. Lenny hopping up with the classic just to check, and he found what he was looking for.
I mean, I'll see what we're all thinking. This is some justice for Lenny. What in the world?
I was trying not to mention it. He's like
coming back with a vengeance from the bench.
Put me on Gecko again.
Yeah, well, not even that. Just don't put me on the stage again. See what happens.
All right, it's just kickoff. It's just the first match, but what a way to start things out.
Sure, Talon did this to us last year, but I mean, honestly, a great showing. And you know, that Outlaw, I mean, some of the pros have talked about that as well, right? Close range. It's still good enough. You got the double shot.
It is. And now we've got the half armor all across Team Secret. Phantoms to everyone on Talon. Governor already so deep into the site, infiltrating and just trying to block them off as they try to push out from defender spawn. Team Secret, this retake, it doesn't feel like it's gonna happen. Envy trying to watch the angles though, nobody flushed out of logs. Surely inside of B main, trying to fire off the shot with the Mage Spark Guardian, but it's not quite gonna find all too much. Look at the swing from Van and Chip Boys. All that's left is gonna be Jesse Vash, and Governor with the angle makes it a flawless 13-3 on a set.
A statement made by Talon Esports. Sure, it's a new roster, but a lot of us still don't know exactly what to expect. You take apart the individual players, sure, it looked good, but the offseason, it looked like they still needed a lot of time to gel together. And they say no, it was the exact perfect time to cook. Meanwhile, Team Secret, the warm-up still needed, and a slow start to the Filipino squad.
Yeah, I think that's another thing too, is just that, you know, Akila's always mentions about Warbirds and Team Secret. They'd love to get enough prep. When you don't have enough prep against a team like Talon, who show up incredible compositions such as that Neon and Yoru, Governor going crazy like this, Lenny even, you know, showing off the Sova now, it's something that Team Secret doesn't expect. It's something that none of us expected.
Yeah, and of course, Talon's now going to be facing the winner of that next match, DRX versus DFM.
Oh.
I'm excited to see how that looks, because again, Lenny, even Frost, they have some good ideas about how the tendencies work for Team Secret. Now when they're going up against another new value, how do they look? How do they come prepared?
I still like the sportsmanship though. No bad blood, just some hugs all around. But look at how elated the Talon Esports boys are. And not just that too. I mean, if we get into stats in a second, our desk is gonna go crazy.
I mean, we thought we were surprised yesterday, but Governor has had an absolute field day on the stage. His very first time standing on the VCT Pacific stage, bringing the victory alongside his new teammates for Talon Esports.
What a day it's shaping out to be. We saw like new Zeta Division, now new Talon Esports too, closing things out 2-0 in this first matchup. Still, I mean, that said, everything's not over yet. We still got one more match to go. Talon Esports, they've got more obstacles if they are to make it. But so far, so good. I mean, consistent performance from Governor, consistent from Lenny and Chip Boys now in our interview.
VCT Pacific kickoff. The second win goes to Talon. Congratulations! Woo! Yes, I can see the fans so excited for Talon. And for Governor, you show like crazy shots perfectly showing up. So how do you feel about your first debut? 이제 거버너 선수를 만나보겠는데요. 오늘 좀 에임이 정말 미쳤습니다. 오늘 이 활약에 대해서 데뷔에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지 물어보겠습니다.
I was definitely like nervous because it's my like in the beginning a little bit for the first like 2 rounds maybe, but that, you know, same thing with challengers last year. My first like 2 rounds in my first match, I was definitely nervous, but once you know you're in the server, it's like it just feels natural. And it got comfortable as you know I went on.
Yeah, you get used to it, right?
Yeah.
네, 처음 2라운드에서는 좀 긴장했습니다. 저번 작년 챌린지에서 같은 경우도 2라운드까지는 조금 긴장했지만 갈수록 적응을 했고 그게 승리로 이끌었던 것 같습니다. So also Talon's revenge to TS was stronger than expected. So what do you think affected today's massive win? 또 오늘 이제 탈론이 반격에 나서면서 예상보다 더 큰 활약을 보여줬는데 이 승리에 대해서 어떤 게 가장 큰 요소가 있었을까요?
Obviously, there's like some history between Lenny and, you know, Secret. I think for this match, like we knew how much it meant to Lenny, especially, you know, me. But you know, the match, I really wanted to win this one more than anything, just, you know, for my teammate. I know how much it meant to him, so I'm really happy I was able to, you know, have such a performance.
Yeah, you really did.
Yeah.
But Anything to continue?
No.
Okay. 네, 일단 조금 의문으로 남기도 하지만 제가 이번 경기에서 활약을 했고 그리고 더 크게 기여한 것에 대해서 기쁨을 느낀다고 전했는데요. 또 다음 질문으로 이어가 보면은 이제 새로운 코치와 함께 경기를 진행하게 됐는데 이 코치와 팀과의 케미는 어떤지 또 물어보겠습니다. So we have the new coach Frost in Talent. So what do you think? How was the chemistry with the team? How did it work with the coach?
So I've actually worked with Frost in the past.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was on a free agent team for about 6 months with him. When I first, worked with him, he was a lot stricter than I'm used to. Like think of it like a football coach. Very, strict. Basically, the first person to probably, call me stupid a lot and like. But I have a history with him. But overall, when he brought me to Talon. I was, because of my history with him, I think it meshed already really well. Because in the past, at first, I definitely didn't know how to feel about it. But, even now we argue a lot, but, it's healthy, It's a healthy amount of arguing and, we work well together.
야. 또 이제 코치님이 되게 엄격하시다고 말했는데 작년에도 이제 코치님과 함께 했지만 이번에는 조금 더 코치님과 더 투닥투닥 거리면서 좀 더 케미 좋은 팀으로 만들어 나갔다고 이야기를 했습니다. 또 이월 지나칠 수 없죠. 팬분들께 선물로 드릴 인형인데요. 여기에서 직접 승리의 데뷔 사인과 함께 팬분들께 던져보겠습니다. So can you give your sign in the stall? We're gonna throw to the fans. Your sign here? This marker? Congratulations! You can sign it on the forehead or the back. Yes, anywhere you want. 네, 지금 사인을 하고 계신데요. 이 행운의 인형을 갖고 싶으신 팬분들은 손을 번쩍 들고 계시면 그쪽으로 갈 확률이 좀 높겠죠? 그리고 제가 또 네, 오늘도 뒤쪽이 조금 더 적극적인 것 같아요. Yeah, the fans are really wanting the doll. Where do you want to throw it to? To the back or to the front? Anyone will feel you're lucky. Good job. Okay. Thank you so much for the interview. I hope to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye to the camera. Thank you.
Wow, there are a lot of fans there who were trying to catch that tactic bunny from Governor, who was incredible. There's so much history between these two teams, but it's surprising actually how Team Secret performed here. They have so much history on this map, and they weren't quite playing themselves. On the other side, Talent looked phenomenal.
Yeah, surprising is one word to use. I could think of several other ones, but I won't utter them on the broadcast right now. This was absolutely disappointing and not at all what we expected from Team Secret. We expected them to come out, again, like I said, they have a decent jumping off point given that they have such a solid foundation still on this squad with just one new player joining in. But Talent, good lord, what a performance from them the whole way throughout. Utterly dominant here on Ascent. And this is where we said, okay, you know what, Secret, they started warming up a little bit on the back end of Breeze. Now they found their footing. We saw that pistol round coming out from Envy on Breeze as well. So it's like, okay, now they're a little bit more warmed up. They're a little bit more in the zone. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Talon were just completely unflappable on this map.
And you know how important that pistol round was, because it felt like after that, because they lost it, it felt like Jeremy just couldn't find his groove. There was a point where he had the blades coming into short. He spotted 2 targets and couldn't decide which one to actually, just actually focus on.
We have to just point straight to the stats. Governor drops a 399 on Ascent. Wow. Nearly cresting 400 and has 7 first kills. He only gave up 1 first death that entire map. It's just utterly dominant the whole way throughout. Lenny as well, stepping into this IGL role, also putting up fantastic figures. He comes away with 100% kill participation on that Sova. He was contributing to absolutely everything that was being done in the lobby. This is a renaissance for a lot of these players. Ban, somebody who was subject to a lot of scrutiny after last year. We did see improvements from him on his jet, particularly on Fracture, but so far seeing him on the Euros, seeing him on KO, the system that he's in right now, it seems like they're really utilizing him.
Yeah, so where does that put us now? We got T1 and Zeta facing up, and Talon is going to be facing up the winner of the next match, which is DRX and DFM. Now, I know, like Talon, a lot of us had a lot of question marks about DFM, but judging by Talon's performance, maybe we should give DFM a lot of credit too.
It certainly is possible. I mean, they come in, they have a lot riding on this game right here for the side of DFM. So, I mean, they need to prove themselves for sure with this newer roster coming through. Crazy Raccoon crossover, you know, Anthem there as well still. But the odds are stacked against them. But I think no matter which team comes out on top of this one, whoever it is, them versus Talon, makes for an awesome match.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a banger.
Heck yeah. We're going to break down more of this. We're going to go on a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to go into the last and final matchup of today.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
The first week the guys came in, they weren't being too serious with everything. It's like seeing who's sitting next to who.
The second week is when we really started practice. This year we have a lot of creative minds. People enjoy thinking about the game a lot in the team this year.
Players are under a lot of stress, or they don't have the strategies in place to recover well. There's a huge risk of burnout down the line. It's important to me that they have the support they need to work as hard as they can.
I want to build flexible players so they can adapt very easily. Because I think in sport, the people who adapt the quickest are the ones that will win.
We encourage the guys to actually rest on that rest day, do what they need to do to feel recovered for their next week.
When I was younger, I was always thinking about stuff like this. Sitting down at like a stall in front of like the people cooking and stuff and just eating them.
There's literally ice on it, guys.
Who is more laid back outside of practice?
Who complains more in the gaming house?
Who showers less? This one, I just with this one. If I was playing, I had you for sure.
Who has the better aim? Who's better?
Confirm, bro. This one, 10,000%.
If you want.
Oh!
Huh?
Bro, easy.
Yeah, easy.
Easy. Can be more toxic. I go with this one. Let's see.
Who's more determined to make it to international domination? What do you mean? We are in the same team. Yeah, we are in the same team.
Come on, let's put it like this. I know you cannot see me, but it should be like this.
What is it?
About damn time.
Victory, we ain't taking L's, death to our enemies. You see the drip on me, you cannot get with me, you cannot stop me. Sit back and wait, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't got no fear. Sit back and take notes, cause homie, we get here. Into the jungle, into the jungle, bring it on. One in the world, you one of my nerves, you never return, when you enter in the jungle.
Welcome back to VCT Pacific Kickoff, and woo, it's been kind of a spicy day with 2 games of 2-0. I'm your host, Chubby Ninja. With me at the desk, we got our analyzers analyzing things, Achilleos and Asarai. Welcome. This is also his first day with us on Pacific, and it's been kind of crazy. I mean, we were looking at the last game with Team Secret and Talon. We saw the new Talon and what they had to offer.
They were absolutely just blow it out of the park. Again, I expected them to have better performance from what we saw last year, but not to this caliber, not to how Governor just exploded into the scene. And you kind of see you heard the motivation of what gave that to him. It was the revenge match against Team Secret. It's him wanting to have that Lenny just smile a lot more brighter today, and it shows. He was like, yeah, I got this for Lenny.
Yeah, I mean, Lenny as well, he got a piece of that one because he was also dominant in the final map, but we'll see if that's going to carry forward here for the side of Team Talon, because they don't know who they're playing against yet, and it's one of these 2 teams.
That's right, and we did see Zeta earlier today, and very similarly, we saw a very refreshed Zeta division go against a new Global Esports. But I think both Team Secret and Global Esports, you know, go back to the drawing board and figure things out, and while they move on to the lower bracket. And our next matchup, DRX versus DFM. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. I hope we were thinking the same, like, well, this is, you know, DRX and their track record of, like, almost a nearly flawless win throughout Pacific last year, and DFM the complete opposite with literally 0 wins last year, but they have a completely different team this year.
They do. There's just a kind of one holdover here in Anthem. There's been obviously a lot of back and forth as well, because we saw multiple players joining this roster, being announced, then departing in the offseason. So there's been a lot of head scratching around DFM regarding what they're doing, what core they were going to end up settling on. But now we know. It's just basically Crazy Raccoons, and then Anthem is still here. He sticks over to just, you know, kind of continue being Anthem, because with all of the faults that we did have from DFM, he was pretty much the most consistent bright spot outside of a couple pop-off moments that we had from time to time from the likes of Soldom and Suggest. Anthem, I mean, he was the first person to globally get an ace in the last season, locked that one down at lock-in on Icebox, I believe, and then managed to do it multiple other times throughout the season. So I think him being there still means that there's a solid amount of firepower that's there for the side of DFM. I'm more interested in how these players coming over from Crazy Raccoon are going to mesh with him, and whether or not they're going to be able to put a dent in DRX.
Yeah. And let's talk about DRX. They did have some minor roster changes.
Brutal, I'm sorry. This is the opposite.
They're on the other both opposite ends of the spectrum.
These are just facts. I mean, I heard like podcasts where people are just wagering, like, is DFM gonna get their first win? I think they are, for sure. There's absolutely no way. Anthem, like you said, Achilleos, he was incredible. He was an incredible Sky last year. Now, DRX, they have Flashback on the team now. They decided to take on a rookie. What was it, 608 days since they changed their roster, and finally they've done it.
They absolutely have. I just wanted to add as well, you know, looking at this as a whole for the DRX roster, they are, I believe, a 5-man roster now compared to the 6 from last year. So it feels like they're trying to, similar to what I was saying with Team Secret, they want to just solidify the roles that they've had already, right? They want Buzz to be that solid frontman as their duelist. They want Foxy9 to assist them, and they want Flashback to be that solid back end and just have an overall very stable roster. And it makes a lot of sense. They did that a lot with the previous tournaments that they played, and now they're trying to bring that mentality, that solidity here in this first match against DFM.
So I do agree with you, but I also still have this question itching at the back of my brain, which is Buzz going to be the duelist? Is Foxy9 going to be playing Sentinel? Or are those roles going to be swapped around? Yeah. Is that something that they decide to change as well? I'm happy to see a more steady roster here from the side of DRX. The constant swap-ups was something that was very much hurting them throughout last season, even at the international level. But they still could very well subvert our expectations here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But they have to change something because based on their performance last year, you know, they played really strong against a lot of the other teams, but PaperX kept shaking them up till the very end. And you can see now they're trying to rethink things. And we were talking about their roster a lot last year and throughout the offseason, how DRX were going to shake things up. Like, was Foxy9 even going to stay on the roster? And clearly they decided to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, here to stay, and now is not the youngest member of the team. Flashback just a little bit older, so Foxy9 gets to live the young life for a little bit there and can mess around with Flashback as much as he pleases. But I'm curious as to what iteration is going to be coming through. Obviously, this is a roster that we're seeing a lot in the off-season. They were running this at the Tenet Invitational, et cetera, and it was Foxy9 swapping over to things like that Killjoy, when just heavily being reliant on Buzz to be that star duelist leading the charge. So we'll have to see what the experimentation looks like, because obviously, you know, in a double duelist meta, they can run what we saw from them a bit last season with having Buzz swap over to something like the Raze and Foxy stick to the Jet or vice versa.
Now, our production really wanted to take a look at Flashback in May. These are our greenest members on both rosters. I know we're working with very little right now, but what are we excited to look out for?
At least from what we've been seeing from, you know, the video with Mako just hyping up Flashback, he's just very much impressed with his aim, so I'm definitely looking forward to how well Flashback can contribute with that when he's not going to be on the entry fragging role. He's going to be playing, if I remember correctly, maybe on the smoker, or again, as you mentioned, the flex role. May, on the other hand, is going to be on that duelist role, whether it's Foxy9 or Buzz that he's going to be facing up against. He has proven himself in the Japanese scene, but to say with any team that has been dominant in the local scene, how can that translate into Pacific League when you're up against the team that was to beat just a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tall order, but I mean, if anybody on this team could do it aside from Anthem, it probably would be May. I mean, this guy is a superstar within Japan. Like you said, he's got plenty of reps over there, but this is going to be a completely different stage. It's also been a while since we got to see them compete. Crazy Raccoon, they weren't able to become that Japanese squad that was going over to Ascension. That was Scars after they took down Jadeite to be able to get the qualification. So it's been a while since they have been in that position, been in that spotlight. There's also plenty of time to sit back and grind. So I'm curious if May is going to be coming out here full force, full form.
Now we got to talk about their play style. I mean, we have a lot more to work with, at least for the DRX's side. I know with DFM, we only got a bit of the what was going on with the Riot 1 games that happened, and of course, like some of the history with Crazy Raccoons, where a lot of these team members had come from. Now, DRX, Will Cho brings this up all the time. He's seeing, you know, stuff coming from the playbook all the time. He wants to see fresh things. But you know what? Let's hear from the coaches themselves. We're gonna hear from them really soon. And I mean, DRX apparently has the largest coaching roster in Pacific.
I think they might be overtaken by Zeta at this point, actually. I think they have 6 coaches on their side, but DRX is also quite massive.
All right, let's go hear from the coaches themselves.
Valiant Champions Tour Pacific kickoff. You are moments away from our last match of the second day. So I'm joined with Termite and Astel from DRX and Detonation Focus Me. Termi 감독님 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. So coaches, like first, Termi, tell me about your new DRX roster. I mean, there was a change, right? 오늘 이제 DRX 감독님한테 여쭤보고 싶은 게 정말 오랜만에 600 며칠 만에 로스터 변화가 있었어요. 이거에 대해서 좀 한 말씀 해주시죠.
저희가 다른 팀에 비해 로스터 교체를 굉장히 조금 잘 안 하는 팀인데 저희가 국제 무대를 그동안 한 3년 정도 경험을 하면서 저희도 분명히 한계를 느꼈고 뭐 저희를 좋아하시는 팬분들도 똑같이 느끼셨을 거라고 저는 생각을 해요. 그래서 저희도 공격적인 변화가 좀 필요했고 그에 맞는 리빌딩이라고 생각을 하고 있습니다.
꼭 필요했던 시점에 다시 로스터를 바꿨다라고 말씀해 주셨는데 yes, we were known for not changing the roster for a while, but after experiencing the international games, we feel that it's time and we like hit the limit, so it was the time to change our roster. 그러면 이제 플래시백 선수가 팀 내에서 어떻게 적응을 하고 있는지에 대해서도 여쭤볼게요. So how well is Flashback adapting to the team?
플래시백 선수 같은 경우는 저희 아카데미 소속에서 콜업을 해서 이제 주전이 된 선수인데 개인적인 에임 능력이나 뭐 머리나 이런 게 굉장히 수준 높은 선수라고 생각을 해서 사실 지금 당장은 뭐 플래시백 선수가 대회 때 얼만큼 잘해줄지는 저도 잘 모르겠지만 시간을 두고 보면 한국에서 가장 잘하는 선수가 될 거라고 저는 확신을 하고 있습니다.
I mean, we scouted Flashback in our academy, but we don't know how well he'll be, but we are confident that he'll be the best player in Korea, and his aims are really perfect too. 네, 그럼 또 이어서 DFM 코치 아셀 코치님한테 여쭤보겠습니다. What can you tell us about your team's strengths? 우리 팀의 장점에 대해서 한번 호심탄회하게 자랑해 보시죠.
아, 네. 뭐 저희 팀은 다들 좀 우선 커뮤니케이션적인 문제라든지는 좀 이때까지 있었는데 지금은 좀 그런 게 많이 고쳐지고 좀 또다시 새로운 멤버로 시작하게 되었는데 네, 다 같이 좀 노력하면서 서로를 믿고 잘 성장해 나가고 있는 것 같아가지고 네, 그런 게 장점이지 않나.
Well, we had some weakness in our cons, but now we improved a lot. And with the new players, we had the faith back up, and now we're gonna be more powerful. 네, 그러면 또 그 감독님께 또 여쭤볼 게 있습니다. 또 이쪽 DFM 선수 측에서 좀 경계하는 선수가 있을까요?
뭐 DFM에서 또 뭐 많은 선수들이 굉장히 다 잘하지만 저는 개인적으로 메이 선수에 대한 좀 기대가 있어서요. 상대 팀이지만 굉장히 좋은 모습을 보여줄 거라고 오늘 기대하고 있습니다. 네.
Well, I asked Termi about who are you keeping an eye on DFM, and he told me it was May, and he is really expecting of his plays. 그러면 또 감독님한테도 여쭤볼게요. 이제 DRX 쪽에는 어떤 선수를 좀 지켜보고 계신가요? Who are you looking after at DRX?
네, DRX는 좀 모두가 좀 경계되는 대상이긴 한데 그 중에서도 좀 마코 선수가 역시 좀 되게 듬직하게 우직하게 잘 해주는 연막 선수라고 생각해서 되게 좀 경계되는 것 같아요.
Well, I could say every player I'm looking at, but especially for Mako, he's good at smokes, so I'm looking at him as one of the best players. 그러면 마지막으로 서로에 대해서 한마디로 하는 걸로 끝내보겠습니다. So lastly, I hear what you want to say to each other's team. For Termi.
일단 이번에 뭐 리빌딩 하셨지만 굉장히 뭐 저도 개인적으로 DFM 팀을 좋아하기 때문에 이번 퍼시픽 킥오프랑 앞으로 있을 대회에서 좀 좋은 모습을 보여줬으면 좋겠고요. 오늘 좀 재밌는 경기 했었으면 좋겠습니다.
네. I mean, I personally like DFM, so I expect a really good match today, and for the other matches too. 그러면 이제 감독님께서도 DRX에 대해 한마디 해주시죠.
네, 저희가 좀 도전자 같은 느낌이 있다고는 생각하는데 DRX는 항상 세계 대회에서도 좋은 성적 내고 있는 팀인 만큼 좀 무서운 부분도 있긴 하지만 그래도 오늘 좀 많이 배우기도 하고 그리고 저희도 좀 많이 준비했으니까 이길 수 있다는 마음가짐으로 열심히 하겠습니다.
There are some fears, but we are confident that we can win through the game and do the best we can do. 네, 그러면 오늘 인터뷰 해주신 감독님 두 분 너무 감사합니다. 꼭 좋은 결과 얻으시길 바라겠습니다. Thank you, Coach Termi and Asel, and I took it back to the desk.
Thank you, Kyungmin and coaches Termi and Estelle. Now, we got to talk about DRX and the reason why they changed their roster after over 600 days. The reason is because there's this giant brick wall that DRX did not let anyone in the region pass because they were unstoppable. And you know why change it? If it ain't broke. But at some point, it did, cracks started to form. PaperX finally took them down after years of wanting to get that win from DRX. What are we looking? What was weakening? What were those chinks in the armor for DRX?
I don't think it was chinks in the armor, rather than just the whole landscape changing around them and that not adjusting to it. You know how we talked about how W Gaming was the sort of golden standard once PaperX was able to perfect that? DRX still stayed the same way, where they try to go for those set plays, play a lot more passive, not try to let's say upstart or be able to just out-duel the players of PaperX, and everyone else just kind of follows suit. And you saw that there was that form of exhaustion or just lack of motivation to follow through that I felt like DRX really suffered from that.
I think that there was a multitude of reasons. You're touching on a couple of them, but one of the big ones, especially around Masters Tokyo, there was burnout. That was we can see that from the players. They've talked about it. I mean, it can happen when you're constantly playing, constantly practicing. I mean, look at EGG on the back end of last season as well, just always playing games. That was pretty much DRX. There was a ton of burnout for them, but one of the other things we saw was, as you were kind of talking about, was the gameplay just fall off for them. We didn't see them innovating. That's what made them famous when they were Vision Strikers and then became DRX. They were this squad that everybody looked to, that everybody was naming strategies after, because they were constantly coming up with new set plays, new ways to get on top of your opponents and catch them off guard. And we stopped seeing that innovation for a period of time. Every now and then something else would come out, but we stopped seeing them coming up with new things, even as new agents and new maps were added into this game. They were kind of just following along a trend, still doing, okay, doing well, maintaining their position at the top, but they weren't doing anything to surprise and to really just inspire this, this feeling of awe and their creativity. So that was completely gone. And then we also just saw a trend into more aggressive play styles coming through. Perifericos very much piloting and leading the charge on that alongside EG last season. So DRX, we saw them finally being willing to do a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive over at Champions, but it still wasn't clean. It didn't have that polish on it that you expect from this team.
And it probably is because of the fact that they didn't want to commit to it as well, right? The reason why they actually got Foxy9 and the first match that he did was he was on a duelist, and he was just so aggressive that it didn't look like that was the DRX playstyle that we were so used to, right?
Yeah, in fact, we often commented about this last year during the Pacific season, that it looked like Foxy9 was being reined in sometimes, and they just wanted things to stick by the book. And like you said, there was a reason for a bit, because even Perifericos, they've often credited DRX for their plays and just innovating. And maybe this change is what DRX needs, a new young player to help shake things up and like re-inspire them back to their original form.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to use a leash, you need to trust that the dog's not going to go chasing the mailman down the street.
Also true.
For Foxy9, there were certainly times where it's like DRX were being way too restricted, but also times where he was very much overextending and he was getting way too confident and it just wasn't putting up the numbers to really back up that style of play. So I think with some more time, we're hoping to see that they maybe have perfected that, if he's going to be playing something that can lurk around a little bit more like that Killjoy and whatnot. So we'll have to just wait and see if they've done it. But I mean, what can I say about the predictions? I mean, come on.
I mean,
the predictions for a reason.
Yeah, look, can you blame us, guys? The DFM's track record, and now with a completely new team, it's a complete unknown, whereas DRX, I mean, even if they weren't shining at their best last year, they're still DRX, and they have an amazing reputation over here in Korea. But we've been proven wrong. We got proven wrong just now in the last match.
Yeah, I know. I said this. I'm going to say it again, even though it bit me in the ass. There is such a solid jumping off point here for DRX. That core that is still there, it's Dax, Mako, and Buzz, is absolutely phenomenal. Flashback has gotten some rounds in during the offseason alongside Foxy9. They've gotten more accustomed to these roles that they are very likely going to be using here in this matchup. And we just don't know enough about DFM to be able to back them on this one. We'll see if this bites me in the rear once more. And if it does, then, wow, it's the upset of the century.
Yes, it absolutely would be. This particular matchup, yes. I mean, we're usually happy to be proven wrong, because if there's an upset, that means that team, like Talon just now, have been playing beautiful Valorant, and we love beautiful Valorant. We like beautiful things here. Don't you like beautiful things?
Of course. We're all beautiful here, so you know, I'm pretty much liking that.
That's just a prerequisite. Have beautiful analysts.
Yeah, exactly.
So how are you feeling? Why do you have anything to add on about DRX besides the obvious of historic data that we have?
I'm just looking at it from the point that I don't think DRX are looking to completely change themselves, rather just find that next level for them, right? They have brought in Flashback because they want that extra backline, so it means that they're not really fully committing into Foxy9 being that gung-ho player in the front. They're kind of trying to find that good balance in between and then just inject the same DRX that we know. So that means that they're just trying to reach that next level from what we've been seeing from the changes that they have done. And again, bringing themselves back into that 5-man roster makes it much easier for them to just, oh, we made a mistake in this game, we just have to deal with these 5 players, not the 6 anymore, and then all of the maps that they're going to be playing, they're just going to have these static 5 to use and utilize.
Now, DFM, we don't have that much data on them right now as they currently are, but I'm pretty sure they have enough of their own data to look at how Pacific and how the teams have been playing out last year and so far, and you can tell it's a very aggressive region. DRX is going to have to evolve. DFM is going to need to keep up with the tempo over here in Pacific.
I know, they absolutely are, and I mean, that's not something that is necessarily seen all the time when it comes down to Japanese Valorant,